Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However you happen to be watching and or listening to this, I want to welcome you to the latest episode of the Gaming Circle podcast. The podcast where, we took a week off because adulting needed to happen. But of course, we are back now. And it's been quite the week. We've only been off for a week, but I feel like I've been off for a month. And there's so much has happened in my stead. But we'll get into all of that. I'm your host, Mr. K. Asante, TKO Asante, in all the places we communicate. And I am, of course, joined this week and every week, thankfully, by my brother from another mother. The man who's out here keeping things on the DL, but still.
Hey, yo. Whoa.
Hey, now, I was going to thread the needle, but it's too late now. Pause. Mr. Everborn Saga. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Yeah.
All right, playing some games.
Yeah.
On some things in the background, getting ready to set this Kickstarter campaign up. So a lot of things happening.
Absolutely. Now, of course, last week we weren't able to have the show. You know, adulting, family things had to happen. I for one had I discovered Corporate K because I was on a business trip for a whole week. So we not only did we miss, unfortunately, GCP, we also missed the Gamers Playground, which will also return this week. I see you in there, Mr. John Wolf. I see you, MJD, all the great folks in the chat already. Salute to y'all. Thank you for being here. It's been a week, man. It's been a week. It's been too long, brother. Like, besides what's going on here, how have things been going with you otherwise, sir?
Things have been good. I have been a little disillusioned with the gaming community discourse as a whole.
It's
kind of one of the topics we're going to get in today, but it's
absolutely,
things have been becoming exhausting. But guess what? Since they have been so exhausting, I've been kind of tuning out and just playing more games.
Hey, look at that. He's playing some games, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to talk about that too, because you got some good games that you want to bring to the attention of the people. But yeah, me too. On vacation, well, not vacation, a work trip, as it were. So I had to, take the handheld on the go as we do. And I've been playing some games as well. We'll get into it. I know you've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy Remake on the Steam Deck.
We'll talk about that in a second. One other thing I've been doing. So I'm working on this since Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2's getting ready to come out. I'm working on the script for Redlands 2, and I have an outline and everything, but it is extremely difficult to write a heist script. I don't know if there's any writers in the audience there, but like, hey man, this is it. This is your moment to shine, ladies and gentlemen. Step up to the stage. There's something very specific about a heist that you have to have something that's intriguing. You have to keep tension high. You have to keep it complex enough so that people are intrigued, but also not so complex that it becomes too hard to understand. And then it's in a medieval context, right? So it's not like you can say, all right,
layers of complexity and all that. Yes,
right. And then so
instead of having the watchdog like in the back ready to hit you with the phone, he's got to throw up a bird real quick, so you can see the smoke signals.
Have people letting out smoke signals and birds, so you got to look up. It's your time to go. But it's a fun exercise, but it is super difficult to write an interesting heist in a medieval setting where you cannot use walkie-talkies.
Oh yeah, yes. You're making the level of complication even worse for yourself with all of that.
Usually in a heist, if you watch any heist movie, the way it works is someone's going through something.
Overwatch.
Got the operator talking to him in the ear, right? And then you can sneak around. You have the banter. Turn left here. You can't do any of that. So you're just gonna have to have people talking to themselves. It's weird. I'm trying to work it out. So
I'll be honest with you. That is very, very entertaining. That is like I would love to understand the process, how it ultimately shakes out. That is brilliant, bro. That most people don't think about those things when they're enjoying their paydays or whatever heist show or movie or game they're watching. They don't pay attention to the logistics of it that don't keep it boring,
There's only one movie that did it, and it was that new Robin Hood remake, and that movie was
yeah.
So
that's true. That's true. That's true. I mean, my favorite heist movie is Inside Man, but that's a whole different conversation. That's not medieval,
Yeah. So that is really the thing. But
that's
we'll
cool,
see how
bro.
it turns out. Hopefully it's fun for people to read when that comes around.
Absolutely.
But other than that, just been playing some games. So
yeah, man. All right. Well, before we get to it, let me first and foremost thank the first super chat of the day, Mr. MJ Dark, the man, the myth, the legend, the handheld king, with a $5 super chat. Good morning, sir. Thank you for being here. He says, when Switch 2 is announced, no one will care about the PS5 Pro, which could cost $700 to $800. GTA 6 best on Switch 2. Hey, Everborn and K. Spoiled. Oh yeah, yes. I spoiled Halo 2 for him, man. I'm so sorry. I spoiled Halo 2 for him. Now let me tell you real quick. So
Halo
he and I were chatting.
Season 2.
Halo season 2. Okay. He and I were chatting, right?
You can't
and of course,
Halo 2 right now, right?
No, season 2. The statute of limitation is passed on that one. Yes. Halo season 2. As we talk about it pretty frequently, and people come after me for the keys and all, right? So we've been frequently chatting in the various sources. So I thought that he was keeping up week to week like we are, right? So I dropped a nugget that he did not know was coming, and I feel so bad. I still feel bad about that. I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. So yes, I pulled an Everborn Saga. Forgive me.
See, this is the thing. You've been the one doing the spoiling, but I get all the blame. But I
pulled an Everborn Saga. Forgive me. Yes.
I do not know if I feel bad for Mr. Dark, because you should have been keeping up to date, sir. When it's Thursday, I don't care what you got going on. You better watch that Halo show.
You better watch that Halo, bro. Because if you don't, you can't expect us to know. But come on.
Can you believe what a glow up that show has had compared to what season 1 was?
Although I will say I agree with you, but I have heard people still give it a lot of smoke.
Yeah, but
because now they're comparing it. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. And I'm talking like somebody like John. Yeah, well, that's a whole different conversation. John from Xbox Era, he still doesn't like it, at all. But his criticism of it is valid. He's comparing it to what he wants it to be, what it should be, versus grading it on that curve compared to season 1. You know what I mean? It's getting better.
No.
But it's
So here's the thing. You cannot judge something based on what you want it to be. You have to judge it based on what is being presented.
Well, he's judging it based on prestige TV, which is what we have by and large in most of these cases.
Again, I would argue that season 2 has been prestige. And
it's getting there. Yes.
Not in comparison to season 1. Forget about season 1. People that ask me, should they watch this show? I tell them to skip season 1 and you'll just catch up with what's going on. You'll feel behind, but season 1 will sour you so bad that you may not even score season 2 as hot. And what I'm saying is, if this was the starting point, I think it's great. And again, John Wolf in the chat says it perfectly. Take this show as an Elseworlds tale.
Absolutely.
And the show's fantastic. And again,
absolutely, yeah, I agree. Yep.
Every week, I watch the show. I get a smile on my face, and I'm excited. I can't wait until the next episode comes out. And if that's how you feel, where it's like, oh man, when is this next episode's coming? And just what they do with the character work, what they do with the tension. And I would argue.
And oh, by the way, I have not seen the latest episode, so please. I have not seen the latest episode. I have not, because I was on a business trip. So continue, please. Go ahead.
But I would argue that the only reason, like, I don't think McKay or Maki should be in the show, but or Quan, those are the two most annoying characters.
See, now you spoiled it for him. Quan is in season 2. You just spoiled it for him. See what you just did? There you go.
No. She's in episode 1. Stop it. But if you're able to divorce yourself from season 1 with all the annoying things that they did, like, this is why I say, if you haven't watched the show, skip season 1.
True.
But if you're able to divorce yourself from that, the characters are actually well acted and serviceable on screen in this season. When you see them, you get like this repulsive reaction because you're remembering season 1, not because they're poorly written on season 2. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. It has past. It gives you that past agita, even though they should stand by themselves, but because season 1 represented them so badly, it kind of brings down your expectations.
I can't blame anyone who has been soured by season 1 because they put it out and people were forced to sit. Not that they were forced to sit.
And there are still some threads that are paid off from 1 to 2. So they are continuing the story basically.
Some of the sins of season 1, like the Maki character in general, it's here. Like, she's here because of season
1. That's right.
And so they're kind of, as I like to call it, handcuffed to the dead hooker. Not calling Maki.
Wow.
That plot line. Just, I get that. But what I'm saying is, just in terms of like filmmaking and action and interest and the CG budget, they use it way more intelligently, I would say.
Although there is a scene last week, not this week, but last week, because I haven't seen this week. There's a scene where they show you a whole bunch of a whole bunch of people, and I'm just like, come on, CG budget. Y'all should put a bit more on that one.
Honestly, I thought it looked pretty good. You're talking about the Spartan 3s.
See, again, I'm trying not to spoil it for people who haven't seen season 2.
That's not a spoiler.
Yeah, when they show off the
previous episode, you see
they showed it. Yes.
And they're Spartan 3s.
So if when they show them off, like and like a sea of them, and you see them with the plane in the background, I'm like, it could have used a little bit more sheen on that budget, just a little bit more.
I disagree. When they opened on that episode and they did that scene that they did for that exercise, we'll leave it at there. Like, I thought it worked. I thought it looked really good. And if I was imagining a Halo show, like that, just that scene, take out everything else, I think it works in that universe. And again, the action is good, the drama is good, the characters are more interesting. The Parangoski talking.
Excellent. That's the part that they need to emphasize more of that and de-emphasize some of the other stuff. Like the Parangoski, like that dynamic. Oh man. And Ackerson, what a godsend to this show. That character. Oh man.
They did not use Parangoski well in season 1.
No, they didn't.
Ackerson, godsend. Like, even though this is a Master Chief show, like, he's the one that's
he makes this show. He makes this show. Absolutely, yes.
But Parangoski steals every scene she's in, right?
Sure. And I will say the Halsey also seems to become a bit more human this season, which is unusual. I liked Halsey of season 1 because she was more like the Halsey of the games, but it seems they've given her some more dimensions this season.
Well, so what this season, I feel almost like I'm still not a fan. I wasn't a fan of Halsey in season 1 just because I don't know if she's cast properly for my liking. Season 2 doesn't make me feel much better about Halsey.
I will tell you, she plays Halsey, the character I know very well, and Halsey by and large got me into this show. Besides 117 and all that, like, I've read a lot of the books, I've read the beginning of the Spartan program, and the way she's depicted, This actress does it expertly. Cold, steel, calculated. Even though she's not necessarily the one with the muscles that can fight you, everyone is scared of her. Like she is like steel. You
haven't seen the latest episode. I think she's a little
okay.
For she's not as reserved as I remember.
Okay. So they're making her more human now. That's what I thought. So we'll table this and get to it again in season
more reckless, I would say.
Now, Mr. John Wolf with a great idea. Oh my God! If we're in Elseworlds, please give the man some respect. Where is Captain? Where is Locke?
And we need what's his name to play him. Right, it's perfect.
Ooh. Yes. We need him to come in. Right? Oh, that'd be amazing. That'd be so amazing. Like you'd have me like jumping out of my chair if all of a sudden I saw Michael. What's his last name? I forget his name. Coulter. Jump out of the woodwork and just is Locke. Oh, that'd be great.
Here's the interesting thing, right? In Halo 2, that's when you first meet Locke because he's talking to the Arbiter, right?
Yeah. There are Arbiters here.
In the show.
Yeah.
The final episode.
Oh man! See, now you're giving me hopium. You got to calm down. If that were to happen, bro, that would shoot to a 10 for me, man. I would love that.
At that point, everybody's waiting for season 2, right?
Yeah, that's true. That would be amazing. But okay. Right. Enough of the Halo talk.
The
Go ahead.
Is, I really like one. If season 1 didn't exist, if this is where we started, or if this was just any other show, this is like peak, like sci-fi stuff going on, like for what we have on TV. So like week to week, I'm on the edge of my seat. I love, and it's a 94 on Rotten Tomatoes. So it's not
it has climbed up them charts drastically. It's doing well out there. Absolutely. The season 3 is coming. This is probably the best that Paramount's ever had.
Also, in terms of like minutes streamed, it's the number 1. It's the number 3 show of all the streaming shows that are out right now.
There you go. And actually, I was going to talk about that. That was a talking point for the show. But you know what? Let's talk about that now. I saw Xbox Era pull and you know what? I'll just do that right now. I saw Xbox Era did a Nielsen write up on it, and man, it's pulling a lot of views, bro. Like it is the show that Paramount needed. They needed this because now it's caught the kids and it's caught the adults. It's pulling some numbers, man. It's so close behind. Look, it has more views than Reacher, and Reacher was a damn good show, by the way. Reacher, damn good show.
Yeah, so impressive. Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that I was making out. And again, this is what's out like right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not close to Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which has minutes, but still,
which is good. Which is also a good show. Yeah.
And every one of those other shows that's in this top 10 list is getting greenlit for another season. So
indeed. I would be surprised if we don't get a season 3. This is great. It's great that Halo, in one way, shape, or form, it's great that they're finally getting to tell that story in this medium, because they've been trying to for so long. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Now, Zay, I hope I'm saying your name right. Zay 429. It is the same thing with Lady Everborn. She doesn't care about sci-fi. She does not care about Halo. Not even really in the video games, but every week she's hooked on this thing to the point where I have to make sure she doesn't watch it without me. Right?
There you go. You got a good show when,
Yeah, exactly.
That's excellent.
So this is what I'm saying. Awesome. It is just good. And I feel like, you said certain people don't like it. That's because they're bringing the baggage of the lore
of Halo, yes. They wanted. I mean, I was referencing John Clark. I mean, he's a forger, a world-known forger. So he's got some high requirements. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Sick Mechanico. But yes, people are liking it, and I appreciate that. It's really cool that it's at least getting some respect out there, because the first season was not good. Okay. But let us move forward. While we're here, let's talk some games, and I'll let you get started. Which game do you want to talk about first, sir?
Okay, so again, I want to shout out to Jez because he said this yesterday. Although I've been saying it not to him, but great minds think alike. The Steam
are you about to say the thing that I said to you many years ago that you did not give me any credit for? Yeah. Go ahead.
The Steam Deck has won the console war without even trying, and it is a damn console.
Remember when I said that and people crucified me on this show many months ago? Sure.
You can go into the desktop portion of it, but you don't have to. And it is the tried and true console experience, and they made it work for PC. This is why I cannot wait till they either offer that OS or make their own Steam box. But anyway, so I've been doing some gaming on Steam this week, and Six Slayer. You said because Jez says it doesn't mean he's right, but I am also saying it, and I have
and Six Slayer, I was saying it when Everborn Saga was fighting me, saying that I was getting Gabe Bucks. That's where Gabe Bucks came from when I first started saying that this UI is the console-like experience that will rule them all. But I'm happy that they are now on my camp. I appreciate it. And Sick, I hear you, but you got to try it. You really do, because people say, "Oh, well, what about the Linux?" Like, stop the OS talk, right? Just get the feel of it. Get it in front of you, play the games. You won't even know that Linux exists. It's just there. It's the perfect amalgamation of console-like experience and being able to like move and do things you want to do if you want to do them. You don't want to, it's perfect, right? Now, so there, continue.
MJ Dark says Nintendo still has exclusives and the best games. Guess what? I can get those on the Steam Deck also, sir.
Oh boy. Don't sue us. No, continue.
So Six says he's owned one day one. So here's the thinking. You've got all the Xbox games. You've got all the games that only come to PC or come to PC first, right? Your early accesses and things like that. And then you're getting the PlayStation games closer to the release date. And if you want, sue you. Shout out to sue you. Yuzu.
Hey now.
You can get the Nintendo games. So again, it is just the best experience. But I'm saying we're getting sidetracked. But I'm saying I recently, my last 4, 5, or 6 games, I've just
been on the Steam Deck.
Have been on the Steam Deck because of just like lifestyle things that are happening right now and time wise. Because like, you know, I got work, we got the business, I got kids to be present for, wife, service. If you catch my drift,
the service. This man, what are we doing here? Jesus.
So
okay.
So usually,
I bet wifey Everborn's like, what am I, a car? What's going on here? What's going down? Okay, continue.
I'm definitely gonna ride. Okay.
So all right, calm down. Damn. All right. We forgot we are PG-13, sir.
Making sure everybody's awake. Okay, so
clearly,
but the point is, now that I've been getting less and less time to play, and the only time I can play is at night. And what I would do was go into the living room.
OnlyFans saga. Oh, that's crazy.
You're about to get me fired from the X-Men show. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay, so
yes, you have been playing Final Fantasy Remake, sir.
Well, we're getting there.
Yes.
So, the thing that I was gonna say was, I was playing in the living room, but then it would be like 2:00 in the morning, and then I'm not in bed, right? So then I put an Xbox in the bedroom. But if you play the Xbox, you know,
the clickety clackety.
Yes, it sounds like you're tap dancing, right? Like playing. So I would wake up, wake up the missus with the playing of the game, and plus the flashing of the lights of the TV. So I get this thing, and it's just like I have, even though this rarely leaves the house, I can play here. I'm in the bed. I'm playing at night. I'm getting through games. It's not bothering anybody. I get to keep this hobby that I love, right?
Wow. So, see what you did there, man. Not the chat. Oh, bro.
No, but that's the point. That is the point. That's what I'm saying.
Shout out to Back from the Dead.
There's no time.
Oh man. Continue.
You put him to sleep, and then
boy.
Then you go.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. Yes.
Anyway, but I say all that to say this is why we want Xbox to make a handheld so bad. But for me, I've just been playing more and more, and the Steam Deck, as much as I'm an Xbox guy, has become my primary. Right now, that will change probably when Dragon's Dogma comes out, because I don't think it's going to work on the Steam Deck, and that will definitely change when Hellblade comes out, because there's no chance I'm playing that on the Steam Deck. But since after Starfield, right, which I played primarily on Xbox, but like 25% on the PC, just because I wanted to keep playing while I was at work. But really, the Steam Deck has
shout out to Luke Steele, who's basically like saying what I was about the message I was about to deliver to the people. Balatro, ladies and gentlemen, like I was delayed all day in my flight, like all day, and that's the game I played. Oh, we'll get to it. I have put. Okay. I will show you. But yes, shout out to Luke Steele. He's playing the game of games, man. Game of the year already. I'm sorry. All I'm sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
Why is Charlie Sheen in this game?
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. I'm getting sidetracked. So the point is, after Starfield, 90% of my game time has been in the handheld space, just because of the way my time has gone. So I say all that to say, I decided, because I found out that Final Fantasy VII Remake runs extremely well on the Steam Deck.
Yes.
Textures are good. Frame rate is very stable. Now, I could play it on 60, but I didn't want to turn down anything, so I'm playing it on 30, and it's a very smooth 30, like very smooth.
Yep.
And it runs great, and it just made me think, I could play Helldivers here. I could play God of War here. I could play Spider-Man here, right? All the PlayStation games are coming to this thing. All the Xbox games were already there. Why don't I just play here? But anyway, so I'm playing this game, and I am up to chapter 6 right now.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to deal with Barrett, because
oh my God,
I'm told that Japanese publishers do representation really well.
Oh my God,
where that lie came from?
Man, sir. Please, let's not get that started, because that's going to turn us into a 5-hour podcast, sir.
You don't like the environment, man?
I'm going to start turning my camera on and giving you the people's eyeball. Come on, stop that.
It's like Barrett is being played by Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
But don't worry, they don't know better. They're innocent people who don't have to spend time understanding the cultures that they're trying to represent. Ain't that right there? No, I'll keep your name off of Front Street. I'm sorry.
So anyway, so I'm playing it. It's running really well. Playing it on the handheld, and I never thought I'd be like, So if it ever doesn't come to Xbox, so what? Now I'm playing it right here.
Hey, right? Look at this man. Look at this man. Yeah. Oh. I love the growth. We love the growth here on GCP. Well done, sir. I appreciate it.
So Rashawn Eppinger says the Steam has a PC OS. Yes, but there's some caveats there, because you can get the Hollow ISO Hollow.
Yeah, OS. It's not real. It's basically a rip of the Steam Deck's OS, right? But you can't really. It's not really meant to be used on any and every device. So imagine if you have a different pieces of hardware, different variants in hardware. You probably can't use it to its fullest capability, because as soon as they upgrade it, they're upgrading it for AMD processors, right? It is what it is.
It doesn't work super well with NVIDIA. This is why I would like them to fully officially release it. So that
absolutely.
4090.
and Grumpy Shaman there with one of the best takes I think ever. We need to go find that. I need that mute mod, bro, because oof. Anyway.
So anyway, I'm playing it. It's really good. I can't believe that it's running on a handheld device, and it doesn't look too far off from what you have here. The only thing that I don't think that the handhelds, he's right. He's absolutely right. I don't
hey, there you go.
Listen, we gotta talk about that Hellblade photo mode. So that will be but where are you recording this from?
This is not recording. This is basically shout out to Source Spy 91. This is a video of his that I'm using, but go check out his stuff. I'll put his stuff in the show notes. I don't want to take any credit away. This is his video.
Surprised how close to this the Steam Deck looks. It's
absolutely.
They're doing great work. So Chimera OS, yes.
Which Chimera OS, so we understand, Chimera OS isn't a rip of the Steam Deck, the Steam Deck's OS. Chimera OS is an OS itself that they have then layered Steam Deck like UI on top of. So it's not exactly the rip of that's why people choose between Chimera OS and Hollow ISO, because if you want the exact rip to the point where you can even get updates from Steam, then you want Hollow ISO, right? If you go Chimera OS, you're getting standard Linux distro, but with Steam Deck like UI on top. Is a difference there. But continue.
Yeah, and see, this is, I know you have made one of these. You were supposed to do a video. You haven't yet, but
yes, I have not done it. Yes, I have not done it yet. Yes. I will. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that to mature a little bit more, because I do want to put it on a big PC, and that might just be how I game going forward. But which kind of brings us to, I guess we'll talk about it, but it's like all the while there's no handheld. I'm building a Steam library, which I would have preferred to build on Xbox. But anyway, so the other game I'm playing besides Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's a new Contra game. Operation Garou.
What's it called? This game right here. Okay.
Yes.
I have not played it yet. I hear I need to. Shout out to Mr. Boomstick. He tells me it's amazing.
You 1,000% have to play it.
And is this the remake? Is this literally like the remake of the actual OG levels? Because it feels like I've played these levels before.
No. I mean, they're taking inspiration, but they're not remaking them. Okay. But they do something super interesting here, where every time you play, you get coins, and then you use those coins to do upgrades on characters and power-ups.
So right? Kind of like not Streets of Rage, kind of like the Double Dragon one.
Exactly. They're borrowing that.
Cool.
But it works really well, and it's like voice acted, so it feels like you're on a military mission. And the different weapons you can get.
Cool. I will check it out. There's a demo in the store. Thank you, Live Supremacy. Appreciate that, sir. There's a demo in the store. Yeah, of this.
I just bought it. Excellent. It's way too expensive. I don't think this is a $40 game, right? Like, I would probably wait until it comes down to 20, but I bought it for 40 because I'm a lunatic. But it's really good. It is.
See,
really
I knew it. I knew it. MJ Dark says it's a remake of the original NES version, which is the version I play. Exactly, this version. You see that? That's the version I'm talking about. I have played this version a billion times, man. I knew the levels. Yes,
well,
that's this.
Here's the question then. If it is, does the Contra code work? I'm going to try that later today.
Hey, look at that. We should definitely try that out. That'd be interesting. Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's really good. It's
see, you should have maybe checked with MJ Dark. There's a CD keys for $25. Look at this man.
MJ Dark, the plug. No, but I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't play it for too long because I there's another game that came out like right after I downloaded it. But I played the first kind of level for it. Really good, really reminiscent of those 90s games. Oh, this is cool.
Yeah, it goes in that, because remember, this is the OG. Well, because if you've played that OG NES version, you remember all of this. This is I remember all of it. Like, of course, terrible graphics in comparison.
I remember it. I started. We're the same age, but I didn't start gaming until the SNES.
Understood.
game I know is different.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay, so now the other game I've been playing, because I'm a 2D platformer.
And sir, yes, what you got?
Guy. There's a new game that just came out. It's only on Steam and Switch, so you can't get this on Xbox and PlayStation yet. Although 2 years ago, there was a trailer on the PlayStation channel. But there's no word of when the game's coming to PlayStation, and there's no word of if it's coming to Xbox.
Okay.
Who knows if it's even still coming to PlayStation? I'm sure it will at some point. And I'm sure it'll come to Xbox. But right now, it's only on Switch and Steam. It's called Berserk Boy. Now, this is super interesting. Reminds me of some stuff I try to do just with the animation and the other things. So,
I love those graphics, bro. Wow.
No, it's great. So what they're doing is super interesting because it's like a mix of Mega Man and Metroid, but they add more. Like the power-ups are really cool, like way more interesting than the Mega Man power-ups, I would argue. And there are different levels, right? So it's not like so there's different zones, right? And then each zone has has like 3 or 4 levels, right? And then you can go back to them and teleport to them. So it's like you get the Metroidvania vibes and you get the Mega Man vibes, but they also, depending on the power up you have, they also let you jump on heads, right?
Okay,
so you get a little bit of that Mario stuff with individual levels.
And let's take a quick pause. Let's take a quick pause and say we see the DBZ influence there. Rest in peace. We see it. Yeah, absolutely. That's amazing.
So it's really, really interesting. The level design is fun. There's it's a kiddie story or whatever, but the story is more involved than your generic 2D platformer. Like there's a whole plot going on. Feels like you're watching a cartoon. But I don't know who the dev is, but this seems like this is their first game because the studio's called Berserk Boy Games. So I want to see if
the game was made to get his vision out.
Yeah, because he just followed me on X. So
excellent.
Get him on the show. I'm very interested in this. Like, if you like Mega Man, if you're into the 2D platformer stuff, this is like the Mega Man game that we
wanted.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
It's like the sequel to Mega Man that we never got. It basically evolves the Mega Man concept. Is super, super interesting.
Awesome. You definitely sold me. I am buying this game. This is awesome.
Animations are also great. And it wasn't a lot of money either. I'll tell you how much it is in a second. But it's affordable. They're not smelling their own farts
hey now. Like some others are. Yeah.
So no. I highly recommend this game, especially if you're in the 2D platformers, and if you're into Mega Man, this is a no-brainer. So Berserk Boy.
Excellent. Oh, bro, you got me sold. I have 2 games I'm buying after this show. I am buying Contra and I'm buying Berserk Boy because I need to play these. And for my handheld masters out there, these are the games you want to play on them handhelds because they last forever. They last forever. Even if your battery isn't great, even if you're ROG allying, you can set that TDP low and really, really play and enjoy yourself because it doesn't need too much juice to get this thing running. So games like this run real well on those handhelds. So this is excellent. Oh, and of course, the plug, not to be outdone, he says $17 on CD keys, bro. Let's go. That's great.
By the way, Final Fantasy on the Steam Deck OLED will give you about 3 hours of battery, which is
great. Yeah, that's wild. So absolutely.
I recommend. The only problem, though, right now on Steam, if you're buying it on Steam, I know there's other. I should have went to the plug and got the.
You got the hookup. Got the inside track.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. I paid the full $70 because it came with Integrate.
Well. See. Now, had you spoken to me, because I use deals.gg, and I also got it for like $30 with integrate.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes, sir. So in other words, I appreciate the new Steam world that you find yourself in, sir. I am proud of you. The maturity, the growth.
Console pay pig roots to it.
I feel you, but from now on, anytime you find a game you want to purchase, deals.gg. Just go look it up there. If CD keys is the cheapest, it'll tell you. If someplace else is the cheapest, it'll tell you. You end up saving a lot of money in that world. So there you go. But no, we will definitely check this out. I'm definitely going to. Y'all going to see some footage from me on this very soon.
Highly, like, even if you're choosing between the two, like Contra and this, I would go with this.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like, again, get both. But if you're only
I'm getting both
when you want. Okay.
Well, while we're talking about these games that play great on handhelds, I will tell y'all, Corporate K
are Mega Man games with
Mega Man games. Yes, because obviously they connect. They're very much speaking the same language. That's amazing. Definitely want to try this out. But yes, Corporate K was unfortunately had to be out there and be doing his corporate things. And what was it? A 3-hour flight ended up taking me the entire day, which was painful. First, I happened to be playing. I played Astral Chain for a little while. Shout out to those who played Astral Chain. I did not know that game was as good as it is. People need to play that game if you haven't. It's unfortunately locked to the old abacus. It is what it is. But another game I was playing, which more people need to play it. And let me preface this by saying I hate card games. I'm not a card game person. I never have been. My wife is really into card games, and what I mean by card games, she plays poker. She plays all those games, like really, really great, timeless card games in real life, right? And obviously, there's a subset of subgenre in gaming where you have a lot of card-based games that are really fun. They've always turned me off. I'm not a card game person. What turned me around a little bit was Marvel Snap, if people remember that, right? But I got that monkey on my back and then got the monkey off as quickly as possible because that game is a money suck. So as much as I'm a Marvel zombie, I could not keep playing Marvel Snap because that would literally take all the money out of my pocket. Great game if you haven't played it. Don't do it. Keep your money. Instead, people were singing the praises of this game called Balatro, so I had to give it a shot. Now, when you first see this game, it seems and looks and feels like a card game. So much so that you're like, hey, I could play this IRL. Why don't they have a deck that people could actually play? Let me tell you, it is not a card game. Well, it is a card game, but it's not your traditional sense of a card game, right? So my wife tried it for a small amount of time. And by the way, shout out to Special Nick. I saw he commented on Twitter, I think it was last night, that this is coming to iOS and Android. Honestly, I think that is best for this game. I cannot wait. And I'm also not a person who loves to game on his phone at all. But for this game, I'm going to make an exception. This game is so special. It is not your traditional idea of a card game. You don't need to know how to play poker, none of that. But if you do, if you have familiarity with some of those concepts, it makes this game even better. So what you do, by and large, is you're playing poker hands. What are poker hands? A pair, a straight, all those names that and you don't need to know them because at any moment's notice, you can hit the back button and it shows you what makes up each of them, right? And the idea here is I forget the description of this game. Like they call it a roguelike. I think they call it a roguelike. And I'll do a little bit of investigation in the background and yeah, it says it right there. See, it's like a deck builder roguelike. Right, is what they're saying here. And initially I was like, okay, they're just throwing names at it. I don't know. I don't understand. It just looks like a card game to me, right? But man, this game has its hooks in me deep. Pause. Like deep. It is such a game. It's so good. And what I found out is the jokers are what matter in this game. The jokers really matter. So you have bosses at the end of every run, right? Small, and they're called blind. There's a small blind, the big blind, and then a really big one. And the blinds basically are your score, your barometer score, to traverse to traverse that stage, right? And you have, let's see, what you're looking at on the screen right now, you have 5 hands and you have 3 discards. That means you have 3 chances, 3 hands to play to hit that score of 300. And you can discard 3 times. And every time you discard, they pull out more deck cards from your deck. And you never know what's coming, right? But you hope that you'll get what you want. So like right now, if you're looking on the screen right now, you see two twos, right? That's a pair, right? And if you didn't have anything else, you just have 2 pairs. You have 1 pair and that's it. And you, as a player, don't even have to know that. As soon as you pop them up, on the side, it'll say, as you see on the top corner, it says, hey, that's a pair. And it'll score you the pair, right? And then it'll throw all the others away. The other cards that you may not want, you can just add them to the mix. It won't count them and it'll get rid of them. And by and large, it'll bring new ones to the mix, right? And the idea here is to use these scores to hit 300. And what you'll find is, in the beginning, it's relatively easy. Oh, I have 2 pairs. Oh, I have two queens there. That's 2 pairs. You know, sometimes you could do a straight flush. There's a full house. All of these concepts you've heard of before. You don't have to even know what they are. Just hit the back button and it'll show you what makes up these numbers, right? But as you're going, the score gets higher and higher. And you're just like, how the hell in 3, 4, maybe 5 hands am I going to hit like 20,000, right? What happens is after every run, you earn credits. You see right now he's got $4 there. You earn credits to then go to their store and then buy jokers. And each joker adds modifiers to the game. So like one joker, and this is what really like kicked it into high gear for me while I was waiting. One joker will be like, because at the top, you see at the top there are gray bars. You can have up to 5 jokers. And you can also have up to 2 what they call tarot cards, which also are different kinds of modifiers, right? So like you could, if you're lucky enough to get one of these jokers, there's a joker that can say, hey, for every empty joker slot, you earn 15 multiplier. So if you get that one joker and it looks on the slots and it sees you only have 1 joker and there's 3 and there's 4 available slots, that is multiplier after multiplier. So every single pair you throw adds the multiplier. Every single straight you throw adds the multiplier. And that's just one aspect of it. You can figure it out to the point where you're getting like billions upon billions of points in a hand. It's just insane how they thought this through. And like it speaks the language of card games and poker and all of that, but it has nothing to do with it. It's amazing. And this is made by one person. It's amazing how that person was able to use the language of card games and create something new and different that really can't be done. I guess it could be done IRL, but you'd have to like go in and buy a bunch of jokers and write a bunch of weird rules and qualifiers to them and use them. I guess you could make this in real life, but it's so uniquely positioned in video games. It's excellent. Like it is excellent from a guy who hates, with a capital H, card games, both in real life and in video games. This is the best card game the best game I have played in a long time. It is amazing. Like I have all these games on my handheld. Like at any moment's notice, I roll with the A1 Pro. I had Final Fantasy. I had a bunch of games. I was still trying to finish up Ghost. What do you call it? What's that game I was playing? I was trying to finish up Banishers. There's a bunch of games that I have on there that I could play, and I had a lot of time to do it. I could not stop playing this game. It is unusually addictive. And it's so smart, so well done. And it just surprises the hell out of me that it has nothing to do with poker or any of those card games, but it just speaks that language so well that you would be mistaken. Actually, I don't know if you heard, but the regulatory bodies and the ESRBs were also mistaken. Oh, is it ESRB? Yeah. They were also mistaken because as soon as the game came out, they went, this looks like gambling. And then they made it 18 plus, even though originally it was G for everybody. And it's nothing to do with gambling. Absolutely nothing to do with gambling. But it speaks that language so well. And after a while, I first didn't get it at all. I saw people playing this on streams and stuff. And if you don't know the rules well and you're seeing it, you're like, what is this? Why is this? And now when I see people getting high scores, so by the way, you're looking on the screen. This is what shows you what you should know, right? When you see people getting high scores and doing multiply. You're just like, yo, brilliance. Like, it is such a game that speaks its own language and is yet so intelligent, so smart. Shout out to the man Ty Talks. He's asking, what card game is this? It's a game called Balatro. It is on Switch right now, and it's on Steam right now. It is incredible, and I hear it is coming to iOS and Android. And me, Mr. Anti-iOS and Android gamer, I will be there day one. That tells you what kind of game this is. This game is incredible. If it does not win Indie Game of the Year or something like that, I would be stunned. It is so good. Oh, and it's also on Xbox. I did not know that. Shout out to man Lucius Augustus for letting us know. He has it on Xbox. Fantastic. So, Mr. Everborn Saga, I don't know how you feel about card games or how you are in card game world. Does this look like something you even want to give a try?
I'm sorry, I just woke up. You put me to sleep.
Yes, exactly. You see, and I wouldn't fault you. I don't fault you because that's the first thing I thought, right? The only reason why I gave this a try is because people that I trust in gaming were really raving about it. So I'm like, okay, I'll see what this is about. Shout out to Jesse Norris from Xbox Era. He wouldn't shut the hell up about it, and that's why I tried it, and now I won't shut the hell up about it. Special Nick won't shut the hell up about it, and neither will I now. I think I even hear Grub yelling about it. This game is insane. It is insane. It's very good. So, I spent, 14 hours on the road? This is what I played for 13 hours. And oh, by the way, I did it on one charge because the A1 Pro, you can set the TDP to like 4, and this is playing 60 frames smooth butter, no issues. So I'm playing this game on one charge for like 14 hours. Amazing game. People need to play this. Yes. I know you may not try it, and I won't fault you for not trying it, Everborn, because if it wasn't for Jesse and a few other people really, really yelling about it, I really would not have given this thing a try at all. But having tried it, it is in me, bro. It's gotten its hooks deep. Pause. But yes, this is what I've been playing, and I will definitely try Berserker Boy, and I will report back, and I'll try Contra as well. But yes, this is the game I've been playing. People need to play this. People need to play it. If you don't hear, mark my words, at the end of this year, you're gonna hear this game talked about in Game of the Year conversations. Mark my words. And not even beyond its merit, right? Yes, it has the merit, and I think it deserves it. But beyond the merits of the conversation, the people who tend to be part of the voting body in those realms are all talking about this game. So you're gonna definitely hear about it, I suspect. But all right. So any other games you want to discuss, or do you want to move on to some of the news things that we were doing?
No, let's get going.
Okay, absolutely. Oh my God, this man. Okay, so I hate to do this, but I have to call him out. So I say I have to try Contra, and I'm going to try Contra, and then I get a notification because the handheld master has purchased Contra for me. He just purchased Contra and sent it to me.
I didn't get Contra. Sir, come on. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much. So you're gonna be seeing footage from me even sooner because I got a code waiting for me now. Oh, I love y'all, man. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. But yes, that's what I've been playing. I'll report back on Contra. But I guess we should move forward. We should move forward, right? All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, please hit the like button. I haven't said that. I'm supposed to be the host that says these things. Please hit that subscribe button. If you're new, we do this every week. We try to bring you the news and try to keep you entertained at the same time. So please hit that like button. We're always in here doing some grown man talk, doing some entertaining talk. Today we might have a bit more grown man talk because if you saw the title of the show, there's some stuff about to happen. I called it it's almost like Gladys Knight and the Pip. This is Sweet Baby and the Flops. It's gonna be interesting today. But we're gonna start off. I wouldn't say we're starting off light, but we're gonna start off with an interesting one that I saw that I really wanted to highlight. Have you heard of the publishing arm Kaioken, the developer Kaioken? Never once.
Now, do you know where the reference Kaioken comes from?
That was a Dragon Ball move, right? That was one.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely, it was. Yes. So
Kaioken times whatever.
Absolutely. So when I saw this, I was like, oh, and they happen to be Dutch developers. And ladies and gentlemen, just so you know, I spent most of my DBZ years in the Netherlands, where it was like God among men of shows. Everyone, anyone that is everywhere. Like if you put all the people who have DBZ tattoos in a room, probably 80% of them will be Dutch people. People in the Netherlands loved DBZ, at least from my perch anyway. So the fact that this Dutch developer calls himself Kaioken really makes sense to me. But needless to say, I don't know if you've ever heard of the games Deliver Us the Moon. It came on Game Pass not too long ago, and then they also had Deliver Us Mars. Did that ever hit your radar, Everborn?
I wanted to play Deliver Us from Mars, and I know they did Deliver Us from the Moon before that.
Yes,
but I never got to check it out.
Okay, so it looks like from Deliver Us the Moon, like some people may call it a walking simulator. It was more atmospheric than it was anything else. They're delivering stories to you in puzzle form and pieces, but it was super interesting, and they had a very, very interesting storyline that pulls you through about how the world ended and how you're going to the moon to discover some things. I'll leave you to discover the story, but needless to say, it was so good that they got a chance, another bite at that apple, and they did Deliver Us Mars. Really good game. It's super interesting because now they are out here, and it's being reported in multiple places, and this may be a sign of the times in gaming, as you know, but they have a full roadmap of games they want to make, and up until now, no publishers want to support them, and it's super sad. And I'm hoping that this changes, and it's so much so that they've taken to the streets, taken to the public to share a bunch of their prototypes and their vision in the hopes that it will spur people to want to get involved and get them funding. Right? This is like, people need to check this out. Right now, this article is from Windows Central, but you can find it in multiple places. They literally put their video out. They said they've pitched these games 180 times, had a bunch of meetings. No one so far has given them any attention. So much so they're going to be at GDC. They want people to come and check it out. And of course, they're telling their story. Dutch developers, but the thing that I think is super cool is that they have taken the step of, they try one, they get a prototype going, and then they try to pitch it doesn't work, and then they move on to another one, and they move on to another, and they now have like 5 or 6 super interesting, because just a quick thing for what you're seeing, one of the not criticisms, but one of the things that people really wanted from the Deliver Us series is the fact that you really didn't have any kind of combat or any kind of real agency in that world. It was a story delivery method. So in some of these other ones, they've prototyped ones where you're actually fighting now. They're doing far more exploration now. They have different variants on the story. They even have like a variant that is a twin stick shooter. Like, it's very, very interesting what they're doing, and they've prototyped it to a place where you can actually see their vision. Like, you can see it. It's really, really well done, and they're trying to move the story further. There's even a VR variant that they're doing that they've also prototyped, and you can see it. But all of them, none of them, and if you look at it, here's the twin stick shooter variant. They're really, really putting it out there, and each of the things that they've shown off so far looks excellent. It looks like, wow, this is the game I would love to play. And by and large, no publishers have taken a bite at them. And that's, I suspect, also Xbox, because these guys were on Game Pass before, right? So I would assume some of the conversations they've had has been with Xbox Game Publishing or whatever. None of them want to take a risk on any of these games anymore. It speaks to the times that we're living in gaming. But Sarah, what do you think? I think you should spend some time and watch this video. What do you think about the idea that, like, they're kind of coming out and asking for the crowd to give them that grassroots effort to hopefully get some publishers paying attention to that? What do you think of this?
I mean, we're going into rough times, but like, they're not closing the studio, right?
Yeah.
So shout out to J Mac.
Oh, shout out to the great J Mac. Oh, he gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, sir. too kind, man. It's been too long. We need to catch up, brother. It is good to see you here. Thank you so much for your generosity, brother. Appreciate you.
So
yeah, man.
I think they should, and Tay Talk says it in the chat, like they should consider crowdfunding, right? Like, so because here's the thing, right? Like Power World cost, we have that info. I don't know if this is on the discussion thing, but it costs $6.7 million to build, $6.5 million to build. They charge $30 for the game, 55-man team, or 55-person team, I should say. Right? They have more money than they know what to do with.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe they should reach out to the Power World devs.
Right? You guys can now become Power World Publishing. Why not? You know what I mean?
Because here's the thing. You can publish these things on your own, right? And,
shout out to the great Fonzarelli in here. What's going on, Fonz?
The point that I'm getting at is perhaps it is good that there's no publisher, right?
Perhaps it forces them to do it themselves.
Yeah, but then then you don't have 1 million people to pay back. Then you can put it on the platforms that you want to support. Then you are working directly with your audience. So show this off, do crowdfunding, raise the money that way, and then you are the master of your own destiny, instead of some publisher giving you money and then they're taking a Game Pass deal, or they don't want to green light a sequel, or they or just get anything. Maybe it's good to keep budgets smaller, go directly to your audience to fund these games, and publish it yourself through the indie programs that all of the publishers have, right? And
oh, by the way, the twin stick version that you're looking at right now, this was a multiplayer twin stick shooter a la Helldivers 1. Literally Helldivers 1 with PvE and PvP potential. Crazy the games they're making. Such unique ideas.
I mean, that one is a little more difficult because you got to be able to support that on
got to support it. Yeah. Yep.
So I also don't know that I would put out, we've pitched all these things and we're not able to procure.
Yeah, it was so surprising to me, right? Like,
no, it's not that. I'm saying just like from a pitch perspective, you don't want to say everybody turned us down, because at a certain point you go into your next pitch meeting and they're going to say they must have turned you down for a reason, even if
why did it turn you down? That's right. Yeah. But that's all of that is super interesting to me, that they felt the need.
Maybe it's you.
They felt the need to resort to crowdfunding to put this out like this because they're kind of desperate, which I found super interesting.
I get that. I'm just saying, leave the part out. Leave the part that you pitched all these people and they turned you down. But shout
out to the great your baby father. It's been a minute, sir, with a great $10, which I thank you for your generosity. He says, "Blessings, Kings. I don't get to watch live as much, but I always catch y'all on the replay. I love the conversation. I'm enjoying the conversation. Thank you, sir. It's been a minute since we heard your name. It's good to know you're still out there. You're still doing what you do. We appreciate you catching us on the replay. Thank you, sir."
Yeah,
but yes.
Long story short, I just don't think everybody needs all of that information. Just say we want to go it on our own. And we're coming to you. This is the one we got furthest along. We're going to try to build this out and then move on to the next one. Right?
It's crazy.
You don't got to say you did 200 pitch meetings and not one of them wanted to agree with any of
right? It's a little painful. Like, I was like, really? Word? Like, word? My first thought was, word? Seriously. You know what I mean? Like, it's notable. It's notable.
Like, talking to each other. So there's like a word around town is they're getting turned down everywhere. I'm not even really going to pay attention to how good what they're saying is. We're just going to turn it down. Right?
Yeah,
At a certain point, it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So, but anyway, I 100% support them going directly, like do the alternative economy thing, talk directly to your audience, pitch something to them for them, and then they'll come out and support you. And we've seen it work a bunch of times from crowdfunding and you know.
Yep, absolutely. And the man Tide Talks asks, did their last game even do well numbers wise? They did get the Game Pass bag, so at least it broke even, if nothing else. But we obviously
we don't know the Game Pass paid them.
We won't know. Yeah,
are on the team.
Oh, like this is what, based on what they're saying, this is one of the core team is like a very small number. Like I think it's like in the teens, and then they ramp up and ramp down based on the project. So like all of these projects have had a lot. That's why if you watch their video there, they've had a lot of developers come through based on all these projects, but their core team is like, I think like 15 or something like that. But then they add more to it as they need, and you know that's how it's been working. Indie story, as you know.
Yeah, I mean,
you know.
Maybe they should reconsider scope also.
Yeah.
Right? It seems like
but their games have been pretty lean and mean though. Their games have been really performant, but very lean and mean, kind of a la Ninja Theory a little bit. Like they try to punch above their weight, but you can definitely tell they're stretching their budgets, you know.
But
or a Sobo, yes.
This is what I mean. Like this is a concept that I actually want to talk about, right? Like if you're an indie studio, right? Because there's so many people that are saying, you know, we're indie and we have these grand visions and all that's great. But you can tell when you have a smaller team, even when it's high quality stuff, you can just tell by the level of the animations. You could tell by certain things that where games like AA versus AAA, right? But if you take that same production budget and you put it in a 2D world, right? It almost feels next level. It almost feels like AAA in the 2D space.
See, this is Everborn. Right? This is Everborn in the 2D loving world. So every game got to be 2D now. Come on.
No. I'm just saying. Right? Look at. Like, okay, yes, we could make this 3D world that is clearly not going to look as good as the big AAA $200 million games, right? Because we only got 20 million for this project or whatever, 10 million for this project, right?
Yep.
What if you put that, you put 5 million or 10 million or whatever, right? And you say, we're going to do an Ori level production in 2D. That punches above its weight for a 2D game, so it is at the production quality of an Ori or a Prince of Persia.
So I will say that Deliver Us the Moon, the budget was 1.5 million. At least that's what it says online. That's what it says.
Imagine a 1.5 million 2D game.
And by the way, the Deliver Us the Moon that really put them on the map, their people peaked at 21 people, and it was a Kickstarter budget. They did Kickstart it.
Yeah, they should do more of that. But the point that I'm making is, instead of chasing the 3D thing, right? Where people will look at it and feel like it's AA or single A, and then you're gonna get your hardcore fans. Is it possible to do a high production value instead of a low production value 3D game? What if you did a high production value 2D game that just looks for that, because the expectations are different. So if you have high production value in a 2D game, you'll get more eyeballs on it than you would in a low production value.
Although I will say, I like that we are in a world where 2D and 3D games are in the indie space and are able to shoot their shot well. I don't want us to divert to a world where if you're indie, you have to be 2D. Like I want 3Ds to be able to shoot their shot as well. You know what I mean? From a budgetary perspective.
What I'm saying is, if the issue is you need funding now, maybe your next project should be scaled back.
See, and we see Deliver Us Mars was free on Epic's Game Store a little while ago. So that means they also took the Epic bag.
Okay.
Right? They took the Epic bag, right? So they're trying to move and shake in these waters and get the funding they need for their next projects. Obviously that's probably what funded a lot of those prototypes that we saw. But yeah, it's just interesting times that this is some of the things that folks are having to resort to. And I thought it was an interesting thing to bring up. And we will move on, but the next story is kind of in the same vein. And this one's kind of sad. I don't know if you guys have heard this one.
Before we move on, though, I support them. And I love the idea of going directly to the people.
To the people. Yeah, absolutely.
And whatever you win or lose is on you. And if you win, you're going to win way bigger than if you win.
Way bigger. Absolutely. So
I'm in full support of them.
I think so as well. I hope that this marketing campaign, that this marketing push that they're having will ultimately lead to them seeing all of those projects fulfilled. I want to see them do it. And then again, I'm also biased because I spent many years of my life in the Netherlands. I love Dutch people. So there you go. And they make great games. Shout out to Guerrilla Games. There you go.
That's the better way to pitch it. Just to be more upbeat about it. Don't say we failed.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy.
Just say, look at all this stuff we got going on, and we don't want to deal with them. We're coming straight to you. Just leave that part out. TMI is all I'm saying.
Now, Russian Eppinger asks, wait, why am I watching a podcast that has a PlayStation as a thumbnail? What is the meaning of this, gentlemen? That is because we are going to talk about them flops, sir.
KSLT makes the thumbnails. That's what happened.
We are going to talk about them flops, sir. We're going to talk about them flops. It's going to be interesting. Stay tuned. The flops are coming. We're going to talk about the flops. But before we get there, I had to put this out here because it looks like Zaslav strikes again. Have you seen this story, sir?
Zazzy boy. All right.
So we heard, like, you heard a lot of news about what was it? Rooster Teeth going down. It made big hay like last week or something in the gaming sphere because it was an artifact of its day and people miss it or people. It's just notable that they're closing their doors because obviously WB is closing budgets, shrinking budgets. What we didn't really like, what kind of slipped through the cracks during that time is, in addition to them closing their doors, Rooster Teeth, WB also started delisting games that were published by Adult Swim. Okay, now obviously this happens from time to time. They're literally seeing that it's better to take a tax write-off than to allow people to continue buying these games. What's crazy to me is, and I've played some of these games. I own Headlander. I love Headlander. It's weird, quirky games. If you look in this list, you'll notice some of these games that you may have in your list as well. Samurai Jack, really interesting stuff. Some of these games are not only getting delisted, but if you own them, they are being stripped from your library. Let me say that again. If you own them and they're in your library, they are being stripped.
Wait a minute. You and I both know you never owned it.
You don't own them. This is my point, sir. That's why I'm here to say this, man. This is why this is coming up.
But that's why if you're gaming on PC, make sure you download stuff and have it on backup.
This is why now you see the needle I'm threading, sir. Emulation, backing up of your games, is the only way you actually own anything. Because in this instance, you did everything right. Everything. You bought the game. It's in your library. It's one of your great games you play from time to time. And then Zazzy Boy goes, it's time to take that right off now. And you no longer have access to the game that you paid for. Crazy. And of course, what are they going to do? What are you going to do? They can pull out the EULA on page 80. Go ahead.
Shout out to Lucius Augustus with that last chat he did.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Right? It's kind of crazy, right? So not only are they pulling games off, and it's notable to say, in a world where it's more advantageous for these companies to make sure you don't play a game that they spent a lot of time on. It's cheaper for them to just get it off the market and not have any of you play it than actually allowing you to continue to purchase the games. Crazy to me. And then they're also stripping it off of the libraries that you already own. Shout out to the man Paris Lily. He's here for the flops. I thought you were here for Sweet Baby, but okay. We will get there, sir. We appreciate you being here. Appreciate you, sir.
Don't start.
And good morning, Mr. Umbra. Hope you're doing well, sir. We appreciate you. But okay. So this is why I brought this up, man. What do you think? Like, you are a developer. Do you see yourself in a world where you're like, you know what? It's cool that nobody ever gets to play Ariel's Adventure anymore because it's probably more advantageous for me to make the money that way versus this work that I spent all my energy and time and years of my life on. Like, it's better just mothball the thing, like, for tax write-off purposes.
No one can play the original Ariel's Adventure game because I put it on Windows Phone. So,
yeah. Well, but this is my point, right? This is a sad tale. It's a sad tale, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I feel like there needs to be, yes. Shout out to the man Fuzzy Belvedere. Welcome, sir. Appreciate you here. And he says we need to push for legislation to protect our digital property. Absolutely. Honestly, that is my agenda here, to let people know that by and large, while you're sitting there enjoying your game, saying everything's all good, they're slowly but surely taking away a lot of these things that you hold dear. And it doesn't happen. We are a frog in the water, and they're boiling us slowly, and we won't notice until it's too late. You know, it's kind of nuts right now. It's just super sad to me that this is the world we find ourselves in. But yes, so that is the world we find ourselves in.
Sidebar: I just went through my bi-monthly ritual of picking up the ROG Ally, seeing there's a bunch of Windows updates, doing the Windows updates, then doing the firmware updates, then updating the Xbox app, and then turning it back off and going right back to the Steam Deck.
Oh my God, this guy! You do real well. Okay, so the problem, and we'll continue on that sidebar. The problem there is they need to, and some machines already do that. That some machines are already able, like, and this is PCs, able to turn on into a low power state, do your updates, and then shut themselves down without you even touching them. The problem is these handheld machines, because they're on battery, you can't expect them to do that, because then you'll come back and your battery is pretty much dead, right? In case there's a big update or something. But there is a way that they can solve that problem, where you come there, you're ready to play, and the updates have already happened in the background. It's just how much battery do you want to lose?
That's not really the issue, right? Like, if you come on and then you have to turn on it and do the updates, you have to update in so many different places, between Windows, between Armory Crate, between the firmware. Which now you can do the firmware inside of the Armory Crate app, but it's still, and then you got to update Steam, but Steam rarely gets updates. And then you got to update the Xbox app, and you have to do all these things, and it's just everything's so all over the place. Whereas if there's an update to the Steam Deck, I just do the update and I'm done.
Yeah, but see, but here's the thing. The reason why you don't notice that on the Steam Deck side is because the Steam does it a different way, and they do it the right way, I think. Kind of like Apple, right? Since they control both the hardware and the software stack for their hardware, for their product, right? They have two levels of updates. They have the stable version, which is every once in a while, which is like once a month. And then they have the beta and the alpha tier. If you are one of those alpha tier, let me explain. If you're one of those alpha tier folks, you're getting updates like every other day. You just are. And some of them break stuff, some of them don't break stuff. If you're a beta person, you get a lower version of. But the idea is, because they know this is a problem for people, they're letting those who want to be the beta testers be the beta testers. And then only once it's confirmed and solidified and matured and it's clean, then they send it to the normals. So it keeps the update cycle slow for you guys, which is a good way to do it.
I understand that, but that's not the issue that I have, because you can do that right now on an Xbox, right? If you're an insider tester, there's different levels to it and what build you want. That is all fine. What I am saying is, on the Windows devices, there are so many places where you have
but that's my point. Because Valve owns the stack, they can streamline it to one update versus Windows and Asus and
But I'm saying that is the problem.
Oh yeah, I agree. Absolutely, I agree.
Yes. It's just that whole process is completely streamlined on the Steam Deck, whereas it's a thing, and then by the time I'm doing all the updates, I'm like, you know what? Anyway,
so yes, a question in the chat. Did I see the CD and CDRWs are coming back? Have you seen this? And I wasn't planning on talking about this, but Everborn, have you heard that they've updated the technology? Basically, a new version of CDs coming out that have like 40 or some ridiculous number of terabytes per disc.
I did not see this.
Would that real quick? Would that get you back to using CDs?
Absolutely.
Like one disc that has like 40 terabytes or something?
Absolutely not. Now, I actually, there's no chance. But if there was a chance,
but it's good for archiving, though.
Is the disc? Is it like a mini disc where it's
no? It is your standard. Looks like a DVD. Looks like a Blu-ray. You know, it's your standard stuff.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Not doing.
It'd be great for backups, though. Imagine one disc for your entire gaming collection or whatever. You know, it'd be great for backups. No, hey, we just finished talking about how Zaslav is trying to snipe your library. This is how you save that. Put it all on that 40 terabyte backup. You know
but you could also have a drive.
Yeah, but those drives die. Drives die, baby. You know. But okay. Let us move on. Let us move on. Before we get to, there are two main stories that I think I really want to spend some time really digging deep on. But I saw this story and I had to bring it up as well because whether I like it or not, damn it, they're gonna get me. Have you seen this? Mojang has decided that they need their own Game Pass-like subscription service. For $4 a month, okay, you get DLCs, rotating DLCs from their marketplace. What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
They're gonna get me for this one because I'll tell you, and for those who don't know, shout out to little man. My son Julian's birthday was recently, 5 years old, and it's become because my son and my daughter are big Minecraft players. It's become one of the traditions that on their birthdays, either of their birthdays, I go out and I get them coins to then add DLC to the library. Right? They love Minecraft. Right? Just last week, I spent over what is it, $60 on DLC, one for each of them, $30 worth of coins for each of them to get new DLCs. So imagine I live in a world where I'm paying my $4 a month, and they get a rotating list of DLCs. Well, but this is the world we live in.
Rotating, right? What if you're in one of them and then they rotate that one out? Can you no longer access it because it's only the ones, or is it like, well, you downloaded it, now you have that one?
So I don't know for sure, but I would think it'd be kind of like how Game Pass is. Have you ever played a Game Pass game that you've been playing and then it goes out, it gets out of Game Pass? Has that ever happened to you before?
No, because I know when it's about to go and it's like this is gonna leave, it'll say that, and then if I'm still playing the game, I'll pick it up or something like that. But
yeah, so that's happened to me before, and they give you like a grace period. So even after it's gone, if it's downloaded on your machine and you're playing it for some time, you'll still be able to access it. And then one day you go to load it up and it says, "Hey, you want to check?"
That's what you were saying. Like it gives you. Can you scroll up a little bit? Does it give you coins?
No. This gives you DLCs, not coins. Like DLC. I buy coins
give you to get of coins so that you can pick up whatever DLC you want. That's not.
I don't think so. No. This gives you actually DLC. Like, you know, the Star Wars variant. Like my son bought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, and by the way, that is awesome. I don't know if you have ever tried that. TMNT in Minecraft, freaking amazing. Also, Sonic Star Wars. My son bought the Sonic one. He bought the Sonic one. He bought the TMNT, and recently he bought Star Wars. And they are all very excellent. Like excellent. Such great renditions. The Star Wars one, all the worlds are square because obviously you're in a Minecraft world and there are no you know.
Talk through this for a second. I need like 2 to 4 minutes. Really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, no worries. I will actually move on and we will talk really quickly about Apex Legends developer hitting with layoffs. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you know me, you know that I've always looked at Apex Legends with the side eye because, like some others in this community, I was a huge Titanfall gamer. I have loved Titanfall from the day it came out. Titanfall 1, I had a extreme like for because I don't tend to be a multiplayer gamer. And when they first came out with Titanfall 1, they basically like kind of tried to do that commercial thing of, oh yeah, we have a campaign, when in fact it wasn't really a campaign. You know, it was more like a multiplayer light, if you will. You still needed to be online and all that. So it really kicked into high gear for me with Titanfall when Titanfall 2 came out, and that campaign to me is glorious. It's one, to this day, it holds up. It's one of the best campaigns you will play anywhere. It's so good. And unfortunately, of course, after that happened, you know, you remember that time. If you don't remember, it came out during a time where it was released, I think, alongside Call of Duty, and also even EA themselves released Battlefield right next to it. So it came out to die, basically. And at the time, Titanfall wasn't as big of a name as the others, so it came out and basically died on the vine. So ever since, they have hitched their wagons to Apex Legends. I have been hoping and praying for Titanfall 3. I've been waiting for Titanfall 3, so much so that every time I see Apex, and the game is fine, I've played it multiple times, I've tried it. I'm not a hater of it, but just for the fact that because of it, and they keep going, oh, it's in the Titanfall universe, and I'm just like, get out of here. I don't want a Titanfall universe. Give me Titanfall. And now it looks like they're being hit with layoffs, 5% of their workforce, in fact, which is just so sad. So it makes me wonder, and we'll get Everborn's thoughts when he comes back. It makes me wonder if we're ever going to actually see a Titanfall 3, if they're now moving and shaking based off of how the Respawn games are doing. I always thought Apex Legends was doing quite well, right? I always thought that they 20 seasons of content, like it's been going for years now, and it seems like it hasn't slowed down, but it definitely looks like that it's time for them to be, they're laying people off. You know, some of the engineers, like some of the quotes here talk about completely gutted in their most recent layoffs in the studio. It's just super, super sad. They also canceled the Mandalorian game due to the quote unquote restructuring. You know, like, as much as we like the gaming world and where it's going and all of that, honestly, to me, it seems like we're in a world where it's just, we're not going to, the gaming sphere is not going to look like what it looked like before, you know, and it just really, really saddens me. Lucius Augustus says the Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty came out at the same time as Titanfall. Yes. Yeah. And that's what killed it for me, right? Why would you release that game, that like a game that you potentially want to have as a next IP or big temple title right alongside these other monsters? It's kind of like, you know, you're not learning the lessons here. You know, it's just something that really, really surprises me. And with this news, I fear that we'll never actually get them to right the ship and go back to Titanfall. We may never get Titanfall. Man, here we go. Mr. Joanna Dark saying Titanfall 2 was one of the best single player campaigns and reminds me of Zone of the Enders 2, like if Gojima made it. See, that first part was good, and then he ruined the thread when he added Gojima to the damn mix. Get out of here with all that Gojima stuff. Anyway, Mr. Slomo Backslap, welcome, sir. Appreciate you being here. He says Titanfall 2 is like $3 right now on Steam. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard, the spring sale is going on Steam. Lots of great games are discounted. I'm sure that's why it's like $3 right now. It sucks that it's that low, because believe it or not, and I'll be the Mr. Well, actually, I'll be the Mr. Context. I'll be the one that always justifies and fights the good fight and says, no game for me, with the exception of maybe one or two, has justified its $70 price point. But if Titanfall 2 had come out and was $70, I wouldn't have flinched at it, because it's such a well-made, such a tight story. Like, some of the ideas on display were good to the point where they were doing indie ideas. You know, with there's a mechanic in there where you're time traversing to the same area, but you're accessing the old world versus the new world, and how it interfaces with it was amazing. So it is super, super sad to me that Titanfall is the developer really is losing its thread. What's that?
Is that Microsoft let Respawn go to EA?
Yeah, man. You know, they could have kept them. They could, you know, but then again, they have mothballed Master Chief. So in that world, where would Titanfall be? we don't know. We don't know what Titanfall would be. So, sir, you're back. What do you think of this Respawn news, man?
I mean, who did they lay off? Right, like
343. 5% of the workforce.
Yeah, but is that 5% of EA or 5%?
No, this is 5% of Respawn, which is like God tier developer. Respawn.
No, I know, and it sucks. I hate it, right? But layoffs been happening. And 5%, like, I don't think that means, like, if that 5% is the narrative team that was working on Titanfall 3, then I'm sad. Mm-hmm. If not, if it was just people from Apex Legends, I hope they land on their feet. Like, it's, Sony just did 9% of the entire thing. Microsoft did whatever percent 1900 is. Who knows if Embrace is going to be around next year, let alone next month. So 5% of one studio is not that bad. I do feel for the people because I know what that's like. But these are the times we're in.
Absolutely. So
does anyone know if Titanfall 2 will run well on the Steam Deck?
Oh, bro, I'll tell you, Titanfall 2 runs like a dream on the deck. I've played it on the deck. It's amazing. Buy it now. Buy it right now. It's great. It is great. It is one of the best campaigns out. Have you played the Titanfall 2 campaign?
I played maybe the first 20-25% of the campaign.
It is so good, man. To this very day, it holds up. It is so good.
Back when they did the performance update for the
Xbox.
Yeah,
it still holds up, bro. You should definitely play it. But okay, I want to talk about the flops.
Look at me building my Steam library.
You're building the library. You got to do it, bro. You got to do it. Now, I want to talk about the flops, and I'm going to talk about SPI because we were gone a week, and frankly, I wanted that talk to end before we got back, but it seems to be getting worse, so we have to add our takes to it. But I will take a quick detour, and I want to bring this up because
we are.
I know we don't have to, but we are. I want to talk about this because Everborn, this is super interesting, and I want to get your take specifically on this. Have you seen this? Google training their AI genie on 30 hours of footage from YouTube from a bunch of all of our gameplay clips, so much so that their generative AI is now creating its own platformers. Have you seen this?
I have seen it, but I've also seen Google's AI fail at almost everything that it's tried. And so we'll see how that goes.
And these are samples of what it does. This is them having it watch after the 30 hours of footage is watched, having them make some things on its own. Hey, make a game. And these are some of the stuff that they're doing. Obviously, it's not ready for prime time, but it's building these games in the background and letting people play them. What are your thoughts?
So there's a thing about video games in the same way. I'm not.
And yes, you see that weird, uncanny weirdness right there with the character. But continue. I'm sorry. Yes.
And again, I know it will get better. Yes, but in the same way, when something has heart and soul and it's just generic. And in the same way that there's a Turing test that needs to be passed before you can. Feel like you're speaking to a human being. Being able to make a game does not mean you'll be able to make a fun game. And making a fun game is something that even the people with the most training can barely do.
True. Right. But it's interesting from a technical perspective. Actually, the reason why I'm excited for something like this is like the idea that initially brought the idea that made this initially exciting was the fact that those who don't have the technical acumen could then use tools like this to then focus more on the creative rather than the technical framework that they need to get there. And this is democratizing that even more, right? I'm not even talking about the creative aspect of the AI itself building it, but the fact that you can then instruct it to build the platformer like this, to have the character like that, to make it move like a certain way, and it will do what you want it to do so that you can focus on the creative. That is super interesting to me.
That's where I will agree with you, and I would say this is a net positive if they can get it to work. But I would argue right now, you can talk to Copilot or
yes,
Chat GPT, and you can say, okay, I'm building a. Wait a minute. You can say, I'm building an Unreal game. I'm building a Unity game. I need a script that does X.
Yeah, but see, that's the point. That's the part, right? You need to know what you need in order for it to give it to you.
I understand that, and this is democratizing that even further. What I'm saying is the difficulty in what it takes to make a game versus who has the creative chops to know what is going to be fun. Those barriers are coming down, and if this will make it easier. And again,
Darth Kermit comes with a double punch, right? He says, "All I know is dev jobs are at risk. AI is coming."
AI is boring games that nobody wants to play.
No. But again, what I just said here, democratizing it even more, which means at some point, right? At some point, when Abubakar Salim wants to make Zao Tales of Kenzera, he will not, like in the far-flung future, he will not have to come out with certain studios and have a full dev team. He can say, I want this, I want that, I want this. And maybe his dev team is 3 people instead of 21 because of stuff like this.
There's flip sides to that, right? And I agree, and I think it is amazing. Where you can just focus on, hey, am I creative? Do I know what it takes to make a fun game? I also don't have to have a doctorate in software engineering, right?
That's right. I don't have to know what C++ means. I don't have to know what these scripts do. I can just say I need one and it'll just give it to me.
And in terms of people's jobs getting taken, we just talked about 5% of Respawn. We just talked about 8% of Sony. We just talked about whatever percent of Xbox. These people are losing their jobs anyway. If
Dorian Gray says, "Good, let AI keep people on their toes."
That's true.
There you go. There you go. You know, that is also an interesting take. Yes,
we're saying this shit until we get the call.
Until we get the call, right? Yes, absolutely.
But on a serious note, right? We know that budgets are going out of control, right? Everybody agrees to that.
Yes.
Right. Jabari and Persona did a great interview with Sean Layden, and he talked about cost of AAA development is like doubling every generation, and the price is not going up. We just talked about how $70 makes you.
He also, real quick, Sean Layden also wagged his finger about how consolidation is terrible, but then also failed to mention that he also works for the number one consolidator. But we'll move on from that.
From the Tencent offices, I know.
Exactly, right? We'll move on from that. Continue.
So now here's the thing. And Darth Kermit says something very interesting. Technology always replaces jobs. Look at history. Look at
that's right.
Big tech.
Why do I always say we are horseshoe makers? Horseshoes were the biggest technology until cars showed up, baby, and here we are.
But Seymour. The goal is not
good shout out, by the way, for the olds who know that one.
I learned how to do this one thing in this 1 year, and I got good at that thing, so I'm not going to learn anything else, and then I'm going to scream at the world for passing me by. And so, you know, if you think AI is going to take your job, then learn how to write AI and train prompt AI.
Be that prompt engineer, sir. I hate that saying so bad, but okay.
No.
Yes.
Think about the money that will be made. Okay. Cloud, huge thing. For many years, you can make a lot of money by onboarding enterprise companies onto the cloud.
Yes.
You'll be able to do that for years to come because not everybody has made the move yet. There's still people on deep.
And there are those who move to cloud A and go, you know what? I think it's time for us to move from cloud A to cloud B. But that's a whole different conversation.
Cloud agnostic, where you got to write your stuff to be able to use workloads from.
Don't let corporate K come out. Let's move forward. Come on.
The point is, right? A lot of money you could make because that was a new technology. We thought that blockchain was going to be a thing. Well, no.
Blockchain went the way of 3D TVs.
Yeah, but
well, the underlying tech is still around.
We didn't think blockchain would be a thing, but I mean, all corporates thought it would be.
Indeed.
Be made there. And now, if AI is the wave, it will take decades for all these enterprise companies to onboard AI and get rid of all of their developers. They never really will. But you can make a lot of money doing that and build a retirement for yourself. So don't, just ride the wave. You can't, the world is going to change. The only constant is change, and AI is going to be a thing, and you could cry about it. And I'm not saying you're crying, Dark Kermit. You have valid concerns, but because I would be a target of this. I'm a software engineer.
Oh yeah. We are all targets of this. Yes.
Right. We can cry about it, or
we can diversify the portfolio. That's right. And I know we are adults in this room, and many of us have kids, and some of us have concerns that, hey, what will the world look like for our children? I will say, when we were kids ourselves, the idea of being content creators and doing all this did not exist. Like, there are new worlds being built left and right every day. So don't worry about your kids. They are smart. Treat them right. Let them, train them for the new world, and they will be all right.
Yeah. I was gonna say, make sure you have life insurance, and try to buy some real estate, because they won't be able to buy that shit.
Well, that's one thing. Yes, that's one thing. That's a whole different conversation. Welcome to the Gaming Economist podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Build for your future, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, no, I just think all this is super interesting. Like, it's coming. Like, pause. It is slow. It's a slow moving revolution that's coming for the world, right? And how it will shake out, I don't think any of us will really know. But all this stuff is super interesting as it's coming forward.
Darth Kermit, you say you're getting out of tech. What is a path to go if you get out of tech? That's interesting. I'm attempting the same. Well, I shouldn't say that, because I'm just attempting.
You're not attempting the same. You're using tech as a means to an end.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I see what you're doing. Yes, but yeah, I would like to know that as well, Dark Kermit. What you went back to school for? What exactly? The only thing that I can think of that can replace tech properly is medical, but that's a whole different life's. Well,
to be fair, I think there needs to be a pushback to the trades. Shout out to the Economist podcast, right? But I'm saying, you ever get plumbing or electrical work done? These dudes are making
yes, sir.
So
that's right. Yes. There may be a pushback to working with your hands, man, because that world needs to continue to exist even when the robots take over.
Yeah, but the robots are so far off. That tech is not coming. Maybe in our lifetimes, to where they could do what you need to do with your fingers. So,
that's true. But all right, you know what? Hit the like button, ladies and gentlemen. If you're enjoying this conversation, consider subscribing to the channel. If you really appreciate what we do here, maybe consider being a member. Thank you so much once again to the great J Mac for donating 5 memberships to the cause. We appreciate you, good sir. We will move on, because we have 2 main topics we want to discuss. One is fun, the other one not so much. Let's get to the fun one first. Them flops, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a thing that was talked about in dark rooms in the background about all the potential. Oh, the PS5 Pro and the mid-gen refresh is upon us and all of that, right? And of course, what was his name? Moore's Law is dead. Put out a leak not too long ago talking about how the PS5 is going to have all the flops and it's going to do all these crazy things, and people were just like, oh, get out of here. By and large, people were like, this can't be real. And then, like clockwork, Tom Henderson, the great Tom Henderson, Tom Warren, the great Tom Warren, both have released independent articles or articles of what I'm showing you right now, Tom Henderson's article, backing up his claims that this is actually real, right? And they're showing all the various details and the potentials and all of this stuff. And I want to ask you, sir, what do you think of all this leak information? I know you're not Mr. Speeds and Feeds, right? I know you have never been a Mr. Speeds and Feeds, but, you know, and I'll tell you what my take is on it very soon, but let me get your top of the dome. You heard all this information. And yes, for the folks in the chat, I know that this stuff can get really into the weeds. We're not going to do that here. First off, because I got home from my flight at literally midnight last night. My brain isn't working the way it is. So I'm not going to sit there and explain T-flops to everybody. But we're going to talk about high level, this hardware that they're showing. What was your first take, Everborn?
Before I get into this, shout out to Max Cities, just talking about how much journeyman electricians make. Maybe we got.
Yes.
I'm trying to get my son into that because he does that kind of work now. But I want him to like actually get the license and stuff. So, but yes, you are right.
Shout out to Max City. And shout out to Dave Ramos, $2 super chat. He says, "Move over, Kramer. Welcome, economist Everborn." Shout out to you, sir. Okay. So yes, what's your take, sir? Yes.
So there's a few things to it. Like I was of the impression that I didn't think they would do a PS5 Pro. Just because they talk about where margins are, just because it is a device for the hardcore who are already on the PlayStation 5. So this is not real. And if the name of the game is content and services, how does this sell more content and services? But apparently they're going to do it. I don't put much stock into that YouTube channel. But you know, Tom Henderson has had a much better track record. So if he says it's going to happen, I guess it's going to happen. I still don't see the sense in it. But if you know, if you're going to make something like this in today's dollars, in a world where they can't even afford to bring down the cost 4 years later. Of these
Keep going. Yeah, you're making my talking points for me. Keep going. Yep.
How much does a thing like this cost? And the higher you go on that spectrum, the more hardcore it is for. And how many of those hardcore people did you just already have their money?
So, okay, I was gonna wait until you really, really laid it out. But since you said this already, I got to be that guy. And of course, people keep because our chat is super smart. So already my talking points have been taken away from me. P3 Tran pointing out exactly what I was about to say, which is that, and I won't say exactly the way he's saying it, but AMD counts their calculation. They count it differently. And actually the technology itself means counting is different. If you use the old way to count new things, and remember, for those who don't remember, this happened when they moved away from GCN to the RDNA framework, right? People first came out and went, "Oh, the Series S is less powerful than the Xbox One X," because they were using the old formula to calculate RDNA, which is not the same. So it seems, and that's where the Mr. Well actually was going to come in. It seems that people are just taking the numbers on face value and going, "It's 35 T-flops and all this."
Well, it seems people care about T-flops again. That's what it seems like.
Yes. But by and large, the number, and I won't say, "Oh, this is ridiculous, it's not true." I want to see more information. I want to see more come out in this space. But I would say, you know, as P3 Trend puts it, you know, temper your expectations. Will it be an uplift from what you're used to today? Most likely, definitely it will be. But some of the numbers being thrown out there are ridiculous. And I'm not saying that the people who are doing it are doing it disingenuously or so. They may not fully understand, and shout out to all the great folks who've put all this information out here. They have literally translated the information that they got from that leak, but they may not be interpreting it as correctly as they should be, and as such, it's producing ridiculous T-flop counts, and all the flops are coming out of the woodwork. So, will it be more performant? I don't doubt that. Just like the One X was far more performant than the One. But if you think it's going to be this this huge leap in technology, you may want to be careful because, it will be something to show off, but I doubt it will be something that will, like, if you own a 4090, you still good, son. Don't worry about it. You're going to be good for a long time. Let's just say. But yes, I'm sorry. And I see the men from the Longhouse podcast. I assume that right there would be the Black Viking. He's in the house. Shout out to the Black Viking and the Longhouse podcast for scoring an interview with the developers of ZOW. I'm super excited for you, gentlemen. I can't wait to see that interview. Shout out to y'all for being here. Thank you, man. So yes, that is my pump the brakes that I will say. There's excitement in the world, and they're talking about all the flops and all of this, but we may want to kind of temper our expectations. But continue. So you were saying.
Yeah. So I don't know what price this is gonna be at.
Mm-hmm. And I think maybe we should do that. Let's do that while you talk. Give me your price range. I'll put it in the chat. We'll see what people think. Go ahead.
A lot of people think it's going to be $599. I just don't know because they've raised prices across the board to $550.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they if they had been lowering the prices, I would say yes, it'll come in at the same price. It'll come in at $599. But I don't know how this is less than $699. And again, it really feels like something like hardcore wise. And I know we're going to get to the Xbox angle on this because is there going to be an answer or whatever? But
and ask yourself real quick, how much did the ROG Ally cost? Ask yourself.
Yeah, but that comes with a screen and other stuff that you got to do.
No. I'm not talking about the technical because that's what I usually come about, right? I'm not talking about the technical. I'm talking about gamers and what they are willing to pay for technology. Whether that technology directly translates or not is not the point. The point is, hey, they want to play their games. They're paying $700 to play games.
I think they're gonna go $649.
Okay, so all right, you think $649. All right, so let me get that in here. So it's
but then again, I want to be clear. I was adamant that Sony didn't have the
you were wrong. You were wrong before with the PSVR 2. Yeah, you were way wrong on that one. So, yes, keep going. Yeah.
But again, even the price is the price. It is a device for the hardcore, and there's a group of people that will play it.
The hardcore has more money than sense. Remember that.
How does this if the people that buy this are hardcore, that means they probably already had a PS5. Now, another way to think of this is, what if this is a stealth way to raise the price, and they're gonna kind of phase out the existing one and you'll only be able to buy the Pro?
I doubt that. I doubt. I don't think that they're trying to phase out the Pro or phase out the standard with this. I don't think so. Maybe towards the end of the life cycle, maybe you'll see a bit more of that. They'll keep the Pro around while they phase out the standard. But in the short term, if they come at the price point that we think they will, it would cause a lot of consternation. If all of a sudden all you could find is like a $700 or $600 device when there used to be a $550 or whatever around. You know what I mean? I don't know. That would be surprising to me.
I mean, it'll be around in the same way that the discless was around, but you couldn't really get it. You had to buy the one.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true.
They'll just limit production on that, and the ones you'll see on shelves.
Yeah.
So I like not. I mean, you say what you got to say about this, but I want to talk about the competition aspect of this because I think that's the more interesting discussion.
Okay. So first and foremost, I will say, J Mac, thank you so much with a $20 super chat. He said, "Holy ish." I hit the wrong button. Hashtag Graybeards. Hashtag we them boys, we outside. Xbox World Order is in full operation. New console, no game base. No afterwards. Oh man. This man is doing it right now. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you always with the great takes. Now, okay. You want to talk about the competition aspects of it, but before we do, I will say I think from my perspective, I think this is Sony somewhat right-sizing themselves for the future, because the reason why I'm saying that is not necessarily because of the speeds and feeds necessarily, but how they seem to be changing their development platform, how they seem to be changing their pipeline, how they're delivering the tools to the developers. It seems that they're changing the thread a little bit more than they used to. It's not like a PS4 Pro like it was, where it's exactly the same. You're just getting more resources. It seems that they're going more in the direction of how the Xbox was engineered, which is having separate CUs for different operations, having and I call them HOV lanes. Having cores specifically dedicated for ray tracing, having specifically dedicated for operating, and they're doing the PlayStation, they're upscaling technology. They're not just giving you gen pop resources to do with what you will. They're actually like segregating lanes, as Xbox did. And obviously we saw what happened to them, right? Xbox did that. And what happened? Like, clearly people just used the gen pop resources and left all of the side stuff alone. And people went, oh, why did you even add this stuff in if you're not going to use it? But because PlayStation is doing it, which, let's be clear, say what you will, in the console space, they still rule the roost, right? And the chances are, and you've heard me say this multiple times, people will go to PlayStation, the development platform will use PlayStation as a reference design and then port to Xbox, right? So if there's more interesting bells and whistles on the PlayStation side to be used, I see a world where all that gets used far more because it's being used by PlayStation versus what Microsoft did. And of course, we can talk about all that stuff. So, Everborn, before I bring you in, we have Drawn TJ, $5 super check. Thank you for being here. He says, I'm listening to the podcast while fishing in a boat. The man's on a boat and he's still listening to the cast. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. I hope you catch some good fish. So, Everborn Saga, what do you think?
So, this is where you and I differ. We talked about this a little bit before the show. You think that I don't think the architecture can be radically different. Like, some numbers are turned up here, and they have this sort of AI thing for upscaling or whatever. But unless you're saying it's a PS6.
This is the PS6 in wolf's clothing. Yes, in sheep's clothing. That's what this is.
But
this is a PS6 in sheep's clothing. Yes.
But that's my kind of thing. Like, the CPU is still going to be the same, right? You can upgrade.
Yes, it is.
The CPU still has to be the same. So
roughly, yes. And actually, you know what? That may not necessarily be the case. Real quick, because remember, when they initially spec'd the PS5, right, they were using variable clocks. No one has told me that those variable clocks still stand here. And now in the variable clocks game, you're sending resources to CPU and GPU. That's why when they were beneath Xbox by a large margin, they use variable clocks to almost get closer, right? I don't think they're using that same method here, which means there would have to be some changes to the architecture. It's not just a spec bump. Yeah, if you're changing that variable clock speed, you're actually also changing the way that the hardware works. But continue.
But remember, this thing has to be 100% backwards compatible.
Backwards compatible, yes.
And if games are designed to use that smart shift thing, how's that going to work? And what
those are the devils that are in the details. Absolutely, they're the devils in the details.
Now let me. There's two things that I want to throw at you. First, we've talked about this for since we first started this podcast. Once we've gone over to x86, the concept of generations have kind of been a lie, right? Like it's really basically full backwards compatibility, like PC. We're getting closer and closer to PC with every console hardware generation, and what if we're just in a world where the numbers don't matter anymore? It's just you're going to get updated hardware every 3 to 4 years.
So the reason why I would believe that more on the Xbox side than the PlayStation side, because Xbox has diversified their portfolio in that way a while ago, right? They've put their arms around their PC partners and went, yeah, this is part of our ecosystem as well. So with that, you can do stuff like that.
But we know that Sony's moving closer and closer to getting more cozy with PC.
True, very true. And ladies and gentlemen, hold on a moment. We started the flops talk, and guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, Paris Lily joins us. What's going on, sir?
How you doing?
Why does this say irrelevant?
Yes, he says irrelevant.
We're not even talking about Sonic, man. But really quick, before you get on, Paris, the one thing I was going to say is we've all talked about Xbox potentially starting the next gen early. What if Sony just says, F you, we're going to call this the PS6? And we're getting the year head start on you, Xbox, for next year. Even though really the generations don't exist, it's going to be fully backwards compatible.
Yeah.
But just from a marketing perspective,
I really think this is a PS6 in sheep's clothing. Yes.
And you say we're at next gen now. Like that sells itself. But go ahead.
True. And you know what, Paris? Welcome, sir. We'll let you get the first bite at that apple. What are your thoughts, sir?
Well, actually, I want to pivot off of what Everborn just said. That would be crazy to call this the PlayStation 6 in 2024. Because again, if we're going by the rumors that this is coming out in holiday, that means you've essentially kneecapped this generation after 4 years.
Yep.
I don't think they're going to do that. The reason I popped on, because I even saw something Jez was saying more towards should Xbox do a mid-gen refresh. Actually, I'm going to read exactly what I said. Because I even deleted what I said the first time and added more context to it because I knew it would turn to console war nonsense. But I said, I am not a fan of the mid-gen refresh, as last time it felt like a half measure, and for sure not a fan of spending $700 to get 4K 60 frames per second when that should have been the case at the start of the gen. If I'm Xbox, sit this one out, focus on the next gen hardware, and deliver an experience that doesn't require consumers buying hardware twice in a generation to meet expectations of performance. And the reason I say it is because if we go back to last gen, I bought the PS4 Pro, I bought the Xbox One X.
As did I.
Yeah. Ultimately, did it really matter? Not really.
No, it did not. It did not. They never really used it to its fullest capabilities. On the PS4 Pro side, we did see some games run a little bit better. But barely, it was barely a blip on the radar. Absolutely, I agree with you.
And that's my point. Because if you go back to the last gen, and I'm sure people will go dive into my tweets and confirm this, but if you go back to last gen, I was even saying then it was a half measure because 2013, when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, 1080p 60 frames should have been the standard then.
Yes, it was. And they actually said it was the standard. And then they flip-flopped and said, well, now it's going to be the standard. Yes.
Right. So we're literally repeating history in this case. Now, to the point about the PS5 Pro coming out, I'm not against it. I'm just not wanting. You shouldn't have to spend $700 plus for this thing. If you're going to bring out a PS5 Pro, then it should replace what the PS5 currently is and be $499.
So you think but you think it's going to be $700 Pro plus?
I hope not. I hope the hell not. I don't want it to be. I don't think because again, at that point, you're course correcting what the PS5 and the Series X should have been in 2020, which is 4K 60.
This is what I think they're doing. I really think they are course correcting. Under the covers, they were trying to be neck and neck, but they knew they weren't. This is their course correction to really hit that hardware, that hardware spec. And oh, by the way, look at their partner who's kind of diversified and trying to be partner rather than competitor. So they might continue to win the crown if they go now, and give you a PS6 under the covers. That's why I'm thinking this is that new benchmark.
See, and again, taking this from an Xbox perspective, if I'm Xbox, this is why I say they'd be better off sitting it out. Again, rumors and speculation, who knows what's true. But if they're thinking more of holiday 2026, basically, we're going to start the next generation for Xbox, they'd be better off sitting this out, wait, and just do that. I mean, sure, you'll have people arguing power narrative and all that, but ultimately, all the games are still going to play in that Series X over the next 18 to 24 months while you wait. Then you're going to get again, going by what Sarah Bond said, they're trying to have the biggest technical leap in the next generation for their hardware. So if you're going to come out with something that is 100% going to be 4K 60 across the board, doing ray tracing across the board, obviously whatever SSDs, all this AI tech and all they're going to put in whatever the next generation is, I'd rather just wait. I already got a Series X. I don't need a Series X Pro, just like I don't need a PS5 Pro. I would rather wait and get to that next generation versus having to spend another $500 to $700 on hardware to essentially get additional frame rate, and that's it.
So Zal 429 is asking, so PS5 Pro gonna allow devs to use everything the Series X offers? Thank you for bringing that question, because that leads us to that next talking point. Go ahead, Everborn.
Get to that. I just want to to piggyback on.
Piggyback on. Yeah, go ahead.
So I agree with you, and I don't agree with you.
Of course.
Let's go.
I do not think there should be a Pro, but I do think there should be a response to this, and I think the response should be a handheld. I wholeheartedly believe, and we've all heard the rumors, right? So I don't want to beat a dead horse with that, but I feel like that is a way. So people are saying my volume's down. Tell me if it's still bad. I don't know.
I hear you fine. Fine. Yeah.
So to me, that is how Xbox can differentiate in the market, and you don't have to be on the
differentiate in the market. You mean go after Nintendo? Differentiate in the market,
because again, they would be making hardware that's playing the games that Nintendo isn't playing right now, but doesn't have right now. But to that end, if I cared, or if anyone really cares about getting the best graphics, and if you're in a
you already got a PC,
if you're in a world where you're spending $700 plus tax, get a PC at that point.
Ooh, now let me be devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
Can I be devil's advocate? Do you really want to introduce a handheld in this generation? If in another 2 to 3 years, you're going to quote unquote go to the next generation, would it make more sense to introduce that handheld again 2 to 3 years from now? Where again, performance is going to be better on the mobile side. Battery life is going to be better on the mobile side versus trying to put one in now.
Well, I would argue.
So hold on. Technically, what Paris is saying, they're already doing that, right? Didn't we recently hear that Microsoft has uncovered some lithium-ion technology that even Elon is looking at?
You're not going to see that commercialized for several years to come.
Right.
So.
And
true. Several.
But to answer that question,
they're saying you are lower, so you may want to. I see. Big Mad Mo says Everborn is lower. You want to undo your auto volume on here and raise it up a bit.
I feel like this is on you, but it's okay.
How's it on me? We're all using StreamYard, bro. It's not on me.
All right. How do I sound now, people? I got.
To me, it sounds fine, but they say you're sounding lower.
Automatically adjust mic volume.
See, he says Everborn is lower, like Sonic sales. Look at it going on.
Wow.
All right. So so the thing is, I think that the handheld should be PC based, and then the generation is irrelevant at that point. But in order for Xbox to do this, there needs to be an Xbox mode built into Windows, meaning we can get rid of all the nonsense with the Windows shell, and you can switch into an Xbox mode that works just like it does on your TV. And now you can manage launching your games and doing things. And
if you had your bingo card out talking about Xbox OS, you might as well drink right now or whatever you're doing, because we always talk about it.
We got to bring it up. But to me, I think that that's really the honestly, and people are not going to like that I say this. I think they should get out of making bespoke consoles, and they should transition into being an OS. They should still make their own hardware. They should still make their own hardware. But that OS should be able to be run in a device that you put under your TV. It should be able to, the same OS should be able to run at your desk on the PC, and it should run in a handheld. And that is
sure that's not what they're doing anyways.
Exactly.
No, but I'm saying like that's how you respond to the PS5 Pro, not
wow,
not by building
Jesus
an Xbox Series Pro.
Lord have mercy. Oh, okay.
I think to what you're saying, looking at because what Sarah Bond also said, they're going to have a quote unquote hardware announcement for this holiday, right? Mm-hmm, I don't think that's a Series X Pro. I just think it's an all digital Series X, additional SSD, and maybe this rumored controller will be a part of that bundle. The updated controller that has like kind of DualSense functionality to it. I think that's all they need to do until they go to the next gen. I would not
until they hit the next level. Yep.
Why fight the power narrative at this point when it's pretty clear the power narrative really doesn't matter?
And you also can always lean back on your PC platform, which you also, it's not like your PlayStation where you're not really in the PC platform. You're slowly dipping your toes. You have a full-fledged PC infrastructure. So you can always use that as your backbone. Why would you have to release the console? I agree with you on that. I 100% do.
No. But I do believe whatever they do, if they're doing something this holiday with the discless Xbox, the goal should be to bring down the cost.
Yes.
So if Timmy's mom, because she's famous, I don't
Timmy's mom
that way. But if Timmy's mom walks into Walmart and there's a Series X for $299 like it was this holiday, right? Mm-hmm. And then the only thing you can find on the shelf is a $700 PlayStation. That's the argument you make in the short term.
Yeah. No, that is like so you're saying that they really should do their best to try and continue that narrative of the what do you call it?
I care about graphics. I'm getting a PC. The hardware that they should release that will actually sell, because going neck and neck with PlayStation hasn't helped them, right? So you should be doing something different, and you should make a handheld. That is the thing. That's the thing that you make.
And to your point, not on the handheld side, but
it could be next year, right? I'm not saying they have to have something this holiday, but
right. But speaking of this holiday, again, if this is coming out this holiday, this PS5 Pro, here's the other interesting part of this. We already know there's not going to be anything, quote unquote, launching with this PS5 Pro from Sony's first party studios, because they've already told us we're not going to see anything until April of 2025. So this thing is going to come out and basically enhance the games that are already available. I think of something like Horizon Forbidden West, which is about to come out on PC. And again, I'm speaking from a personal standpoint, not someone that just plays on console. I already got a PC. There's nothing that PS5 Pro is going to do that is going to be
indeed. Absolutely, sir. Yep.
What I already have on PC.
Yep. Absolutely. If you have it, and for those with the flop talk, if you have a 4090, go check your flops, man. You're going to be all right. Don't even worry about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But okay, real quick before we continue, Dave Ramos with an interesting question. $2 super chat. Thank you, sir. He says, speaking of HOV lanes, will SFS, which is sampler feedback streaming, appear in Gen 9? I guess that question remains to be seen if PlayStation adopts it, because that's the reason why we haven't seen so much of it, because it looks like the main platform did not adopt it, and as such, only like a few games on the Xbox side actually chose to adopt that. Go ahead, Everborn.
Well, I don't think PlayStation could adopt it, right? Like they're using Vulkan.
Yes, they're using their own bespoke. Yes, but as you know, even though they use their own thing, they call it the same, different, but by and large, like the mechanisms to get to the destination is the same, not the same, but similar. So if they had their own variant, it would help more people use it. Kind of like I was talking to you about before, Everborn, kind of like Lumen and Nanite, right? It's not whole cloth new tech that's never been seen before. It has its basis in what DirectX does now. And that's the reason why actually Microsoft is trying to incorporate more of that now. So it's not to say that it's whole cloth new, not before done until they came out with it. If they were to head in that direction, it would be beneficial for everybody, because then more developers would have more inkling to use it because the biggest pool in console uses it.
So here's the thing, and Paris, you tell me what you think. I've said this to you right before we started the show.
And real quick, before we do, I know where you're going. Let me do this real quick. Jax82 $5 super chat. Thank you. He says, sorry, I don't see PS Pro or PS5 Pro making any differences, and Xbox is supposed to combat this. I'm good with this gen. It's been a failure anyway. I'm holding out. Thank you, sir.
Hey, listen. I skipped the One X and the PS4 Pro. I rocked with the VCR until 2020.
Hey man, don't hate on the VCR. Go ahead, say what you were going to say.
No. So my point is, one thing to consider, right, when you think about the constraints that are on developers and how much resources they have to develop. Right now, even though on paper the Series X is more powerful, we've been seeing the PS5 get more optimization. Not necessarily that the hardware is better, but developers know that is the higher selling SKU, and there is only one thing to profile for. Whereas on the X, they have on the Series side, they have a certain number of devs. This is the lower selling pool, and we have to dedicate enough resources to profile for 2 devices. Now they are going to have to profile for 2 devices on the PlayStation side, and if the tools are not exactly the same, I understand that they could be built. There could be
similar.
Well, here's the thing. What is under the hood and how it works is very different than what the developer sees in their tools. And what the developers of these games are going to learn are the tools themselves, not the underlining things that make them work for the most part. Some people are coding closer to the metal than others. But I would argue that now those same developers, because they're going to have to profile for 2
for the
machines,
PS5 OG as well.
That may mean even less time and people profiling on the Series S and X. And I wonder if this could, because again, it's not that the hardware is not there. It is the time you spend profiling it. So will this affect third-party devs and the time that they spend in their Xbox ports? So we'll see potentially worse performance on the Xbox, because at least at launch, because a lot of the times you'll see that the series versions gets updated and it'll be better after the fact, but nobody ever reviews that. So I say this to say, with the introduction of a Pro and having to profile for 2 devices, could that hurt the games on the Series X that we get? And I'm not saying the answer is to put out a Pro on the X side, because then that would make 3 things they have to profile for, and that's just that's a non sequitur. So I'm just saying, the existence of a Pro, does that have a potential to affect how much time the developers spend on optimizing for the Series console? That's the question.
That isn't, and Mr. Lilly, I will let you respond, but before I do, I will say, please keep it respectful. If you act ignorant in my chat, you will be ghosted, as one has just been ghosted by me. Paris, please continue.
I actually thought that was funny.
I did, and I thought that was absolutely disrespectful, and I will not stand for that. Please continue.
All good. No, but going on topic. Yeah, to your point, Everborn, it's hard to say. We won't know. I mean, I would love for a developer to comment on something like that. What does that mean? I mean, really, we should look back to last generation. How did that affect the development cycle last generation when you introduced the Pro and the One X? Did it change anything? Or was it like, I saw someone on Twitter say something interesting. Does the PS5 Pro affect PlayStation in a similar way for development, in a similar way that the Series S has affected Xbox?
So are they saying it's the PS5 is going to hold the PS5 Pro back?
Right. And I know they were being a little tongue in cheek when they were saying that, but it technically is a different SKU, right? It has a higher performance level than what the current PS5 has. So would there be any limitations because of that?
No, and you're right. And of course, in a world of consoles where it doesn't just inherently use the hardware you give it, you must go in and then enable that. Yes, whether it's just available, whether the extra CPU or GPU headroom is available, doesn't mean that the game will use it. That's what happens on regular PCs, which this is not. So that is very, very much a true statement. Yeah. It could make development times longer because now you got to go and unlock the power for the Pro. Yeah. That is an interesting thought. Yeah. That is an interesting thought.
But
so are we in agreement?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna. Go ahead.
We have a delay. Go ahead.
Yes, we do. I was gonna ask you. So, are we in agreement that by and large Xbox should not respond? They should just kind of stay the course and just keep it moving. And if they're releasing their handheld, just release the handheld, and that's it.
If people like Larry and then these other people are already complaining now about having to support 2 SKUs. Even though they're going to be silent about it when it comes to PlayStation, but that's neither here nor there. If they're complaining about 2 SKUs now, what do we think they're going to say about having to support 3 SKUs? Just like be real, step back and be realistic about it. Like if they made a Pro, I would buy it. But what are the developers going to say when you give them a new SKU to optimize for?
Yeah, and historically they have complained about the 2 SKU dynamic that is on Xbox now. Imagine it's now 3 SKUs because obviously they will not leave behind the Xbox, the OG. They will have to keep that running.
This is the difference with Xbox. If you want their games and you want to experience them in the best way, I hate to say this to you, go get a PC.
Get a PC. Boom! My mission is done here. Okay, let's move on.
3 months, go get a PC. I mean,
as soon as you do that, see, this is why Everborn. This is why I want to go back to. This is why I want to go back to OBS because as soon as you say that, I want to see a GIF of Terry Crews with the pecs right now. Like right now, I want to see that right now. I'm sorry. Continue. Forgive me. I'm being messy.
This is why I think job 0. Before thinking about any Pro is make updates to Windows so it feels more like a console. And then people can build to their heart's extent, what kind of graphical fidelity they want. Because your development pipeline is already there. Make the interface on PC work like Xbox, and we can have bigger than what anybody does on the other side, right? You can sure you'll have a PS5 Pro. I can do a 4090. I won't do that. I have a 3080 now, but I don't want to play on it because I don't like the Windows interface.
True. Yeah, that Windows interface has been a debilitating factor for many.
Modern times require modern solutions.
So I put a poll up. And shout out to the almost 300 people in the chat watching. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much. Consider hitting that like button. Maybe subscribe if you're new here. We appreciate you on this great Saturday morning. I put a poll in the chat asking what the price of the PS5 Pro will be. By and large, our 47% is winning so far, and they're thinking $650, which I don't know, man. $650 would be surprising to me, which means a PS5 Pro would be cheaper than a handheld ROG Ally. I don't know about that. What do you think, Paris?
I actually think it should be $550.
What it should be and what it will be are two different things. I'm asking what you think it will be. Well, it should be.
I get we're in a current economic situation where there's inflation and prices have inflated. But if we can go by last generation, wasn't the Pro the same price as the PS4 when it launched?
But last generation, didn't the PS4 Slim bring the cost down? Right now, the cost is above where it started.
Well, technically, can't you get a PS5 right now with Spider-Man 2 for $399?
You can.
It took some time. Yeah.
In their books, they talked about how they lost money from doing that.
Okay. Look, I'm always consumer first. I ain't trying to pay no $650, $700 for none of this stuff.
Neither am I. I'm just saying, how much did you pay for your PSVR 2?
Oh, that is.
Well, technically, I got a reviews unit, but I think it was $550. I think it was $550, right?
PS5 Pro is going to be less expensive than the PSVR 2. If that's what you think, I would also like to sell you a bridge.
Okay, and someone said pass the pipe. I'll pass it after I'm done. But what I'm saying is, I'm assuming by the time we get to holiday 2024, you're going to see price drops for VR2 and for the original PS5.
And I hope you are right. I guess
that's what because even, and again, I'm slightly spinning Xbox into this, because if the rumored Series X comes in, I think that's $500, and then the original Series X will have a price drop.
But that would make sense, right?
That makes sense, because there's no hardware upgrades there. It's just optimizations. There's no like uplift there, right?
Yeah, but then the price should come down. It doesn't have a disc, and the original one has a disc, right? Like the cost optimization is the path right now that Xbox needs to follow. Be the $399 box.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, and let me answer your question, what you originally asked me first, and then tell you what I hope. It is probably $650. That is probably the price. But my hope would be that the original PS5 at that point has been out for 4 years, right? It's 4, right? 4 years?
Yep.
4 years. That should see a price drop to $400. It should be $399 by this holiday. And then you have a $100 to $100. God, I can't even talk. $100 to $150 price bump for the quote unquote Pro. That would seem reasonable to me, and that's why I say $550. Now, if you have a huge gap of $650 to $400, man, I'm just sticking with the PS5. Why the hell am I spending all that? That's all I'm saying.
And oh, by the way, unlike in the previous gen where there was no confidence, now there's a lot of confidence that lots of them, if not all of them, will eventually make their ways to PC. That may change a lot of the equation for people. I, for one, am not necessarily planning on jumping into the pro space like I did last time, because my PC has been seeing a lot of that content, so much so that, I'm swimming in it. I'm not, my backlog is stopping me from playing Rebirth. So why buy a pro right now?
Yeah, I do think, to your point, I think the difference this time versus last time, you're going to see, and we'll obviously see this holiday, but I think there's more options now on where you want to play the games that could potentially provide you more performance on the same game. That I already got a PS5. Why am I buying another PS5 that essentially is giving me additional frames when I could have a PC that does that? Or to Everborn's point, I go get a Steam Deck or Rogue Ally. I'm playing it on handheld, stuff like that. So
That's right.
It will be interesting to see how this goes down versus last time, which again is why I think Xbox probably sits it out, because I don't think them just coming out with a more powerful console is going to change the narrative or move the needle on hardware for them versus, all right, we're in a completely new generation. We're doing, and I meant to bring this up before and I'll say it again.
Please.
The AMD powering these devices actually, I think, them back, because NVIDIA is continued to innovate on here. DLSS 3.5, path tracing, like that. AMD's not there yet. Now, if they get there, which may be part of what they're talking about, what next generation looks like, fine, because path tracing is the game changer here from a visual point. Like, you go play Cyberpunk with path tracing enabled, or play Portal with path tracing enabled, it looks like a completely different game. Right? Throw in DLSS 3.5. That's where your performance is coming from.
Yep. You talk about frame generation from DLSS. It's a different experience than AFMF. Like, it's a different experience. Yes. Yep. NVIDIA has always set the bar high, and they continue to do so. But we'll see if any of them actually adopt that. And AMD has been kind of like on the margins, but theirs is kind of, theirs is kind of the TBS to the HBO, you know what I'm saying? There's a little bit of a difference, J Mac, $5 super chat. Thank you once again, good sir. He says, so ponies do buy new hardware for old games. now how the tables have turned. I'm confused. Begging ponies still have no games. He's channeling his JD Gamer this morning. Thank you, sir. I appreciate the super chat.
Can I add one more thing into this?
Yes.
Like, when I think about, obviously I have a PlayStation 5 right now. Spider-Man 2 looks great on it. Horizon Forbidden West looks great on it. Ratchet and Clank is like a visual showcase on it now. how much better does it really need to be that I'm like, yeah, let me go spend $700 to get this Pro. Now, if you just care about the frames per second, which again, when you talk about it, they've done some wizardry under the hood where you can get that 40 frames per second mode, and it already is silky smooth and still looks great, ray tracing, all that. So again, it's different than it is last time. So I'm going to be fascinated to see what the real final specs are, what the pricing is going to be on this, and what are you going to show me that makes me think as an average consumer, I already spent $500 on this PlayStation 5. Let me go spend $700 more to go play the games that I've already been playing.
So you're bringing up a very interesting part of the conversation, and I want to dig through that a little bit. What is next gen really? Before I do, though, think about that. The great Web Dave with a $2 super chat. He says, K, Asante, Everborn, and Paris. What an awesome chat. What an awesome panel. And thank you so much for being here, sir. What an awesome chat.
Can I tell Web Dave something? See, Web Dave, here's the truth of it. We're in a private group chat, and they were trying to trick me to come in here for talk about I told there's no way in hell I'm coming here to talk about Sweet Baby. So as soon as they transition to that, I'm out of here. I'm off the panel. I'm not talking about that stuff.
Let's be fair.
Is the subject real quick on you?
Let's be fair. If you want to hear Paris's thoughts on Sweet Baby, you've already heard that because him and Khalif did a great show, did a great panel on Spawn on Me, and they really, really put it out there. So we'll give you our thoughts, but if you want his, you may catch it there. But appreciate you being here and talk about the flops, man. We hear about them flops. We appreciate you. So it's good. It's good. But let's talk about that for a little bit, right? People keep talking about next gen, right? What with the world we are in, where both console and PC are aligned in the world of x86, what does next gen really look like to a console gamer? Because I'll tell you, for a PC gamer, next gen may not be the same thing. Like I'll tell you, like from my perspective, my idea.
We are going to go full backwards compatibility, and you're only going to get hardware upgrades.
Well, but but there is a gen. There is a gen upgrade on PC, and it exists even within x86, right? It exists within the x86 world. Take one genre, for example. Take your open world shooters. Take your not shooters, your open world adventure games, or your Grand Theft Auto likes, if you will, right? If you even just in the x86 world, pick Steam games, pick one that was released in every gen of console, and you play them, you will see the uplift. Even though you're still on the same x86 line, you will see the start of it where you barely had digits. They were walking around with fists, till now very detailed characters. And on that path, I believe that the next gen of it will be the every room is accessible, will be the AI overhead that allows for NPCs to have their own agency. You can talk to an NPC and you will not hear them say the same repeated thing over and over and over again that we get used to in gaming. That is where I see next gen going, as in the same size of worlds, maybe the same beautiful fidelity of worlds, but the maturity of the characters and the stuff on display gets far more immersive, to the place where you are convinced that these people are their own people in that world, and they're not just there to service your story. That's what I see next gen getting to. Go ahead, everyone. What are your thoughts?
It would be great if we get there, but let's take the price out of it. Let's take the tech out of it. This idea of a pro, right? Mm-hmm. Like for you to play Tales of Kinzara, Zhao, great interview, Paris, by the way. Mm-hmm. You don't need a PS5 Pro to play that, right? It's just not. Nope. That's not the kind of game that is, right? And
you could even play that on a PS4, I suspect,
right?
If they really wanted to put it there, yes.
But we look at all the issues and the layoffs and the crazy $300 million budgets, and it looks like those budgets are going up. If we all acknowledge that we need to bring down the production cost, and shout out to Get on the Sticks from X, but isn't because this is his idea. I just saw this and it just sparked my interest. So I don't want to steal his idea without giving him credit. But isn't this kind of just doubling down on the whole AAA high production value thing that is like an albatross around a lot of AAA development? Like,
well, like, okay, my pushback quickly to that
point is the point is this is about pushing 4K 60, but isn't chasing ultra high fidelity kind of the problem right now? And we should
but this is not fidelity, right? That's why I said next gen will mean different things to different people.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the PS5 Pro. I'm not talking about next gen.
Go ahead, Paris.
No, I get what Everborn saying. He's right. He's talking about PS5 Pro. But going back to what you were saying, so when I was at DICE, Microsoft Xbox had a talk about AI and how they were trying to use it in game development,
NPUs and all that.
Yes, and there's two separate conversations here about replacing actual people making games versus what you're talking about. Whereas part of that talk was about how it can enhance the actual gameplay experience by providing stuff with NPCs, things that you were just talking about. So that will be interesting to see how that works going into the next generation and how it can provide another layer to the gaming experience at the AAA level that we, even at the indie level, obviously, but at the AAA level that we've not seen with interactions with NPCs and level design and these open worlds and stuff like that, because you're able to utilize AI. Now, again, there's a separate conversation about this, whereas what does that mean about the people that are making the games currently? Does this mean smaller development teams? Obviously the layoffs, all the awful stuff that we're seeing right now. And they were addressing some of that in the talk, but there's definitely a bigger conversation that needs to be had about this. But to your point, I think that's what next generation gaming is going to look like. Now, what does the hardware look like that powers this experience and the visual fidelity about it and all that? I will say for me, as a person who does play on console, but I play on PC and I have a high-end PC that can push the limits. I was talking about it before, where you see things like path tracing, that changes the visual experience that you have. Consoles can't do that right now. Are we going to see something like that in the next generation of gaming? That'll be interesting to see. You couple that with AI, you couple that with the frame generation that whatever AMD's, it was the FSR, but DLSS and stuff like that can provide, where we are now pushing 4K, 100 plus frames per second with ray tracing, path tracing enabled. That's the kind of stuff I want to see in the next generation of gaming. And I shouldn't have to wait for a mid-gen refresh in the next gen to get it. Do it right the first time. That's all I'm saying. If I enter a generation of gaming, I should, because this is what we've been doing since the Atari 2600 days, I should buy one piece of hardware that lasts me that entire generation. And when you're ready to make the next technical leap, all right, we stop 6, 7, 8 years, buy some more hardware, you keep it going. So, I don't like the precedent that we're seeing from the last generation and what potentially could be happening in this generation with a PS5 Pro.
So I want to push back on that and the idea of it. And no, but this is a serious thing. It's a philosophical question, but more practical. So we know that gaming is like cutting edge, right? Always pushing the envelope, and the thing is this: would you keep a phone for 7 years? These are not phones, but would you keep a phone for 7 years?
Ask my wife, and she'll say yes.
But the thing is, like, I don't know of any tech that I keep for as long as I keep a console, right? And so all the other tech in our, I wouldn't even keep a car for 7 years. That's me, right? but the point is, you wouldn't keep a laptop for 7 years, right? You would know, like, I gotta update this thing, right? Like, and so.
Hey! For the record, I kept my 1080 Ti for 7 years and then sold it for more than I bought it for. So there you go.
God bless you, sir. but I wonder if we have to kind of step outside of what the tradition is, and think maybe these things do need to be updated, because again, our brains have been trained about these cutoffs with generations, and if that goes away, right, if you're always going to have backwards compatibility and it's just a matter of updating the hardware when you want, why does it matter how often new hardware comes out?
And now you are a PC gamer, sir. Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Let me be clear.
Welcome.
Let me be
Please,
clear, because I even said in the chat, because someone called me a horseshoe maker, and I was like, wait, what the hell does that mean?
Lon, oh no, okay, so real quick, we say horseshoe makers because we are the ones that have been around. We like what Nintendo, what Genesis does.
We don't like change, basically.
We don't like change, and we just saw the Jetsons fly overhead. We are horseshoe makers.
Not what I'm saying at all. Yes. And I will take this back to something I said previously. In 2013, they told us 1080p 60 was going to be the standard for games. Correct.
Yep. Their marketing said that. Yes.
So this is why you had a PS4 Pro and an Xbox One X to course correct that and give you that as a baseline for games if you so chose. What I'm also saying is, coming into this generation, they told us 4K 60 ray tracing was going to be a standard for games. We clearly see that has not been the case. Yeah. That is all I'm saying. If you're going to enter a generation and tell me this is going to be the baseline standard for what the games are, deliver that with the hardware that I buy at the start of that generation. I should not have to wait 3 to 4 or 5 years into the generation to buy more hardware to now get to that standard. That is what I'm saying.
I think what you're teaching our community and the community at large is maybe we shouldn't listen to the marketing hype because it tends to be faulty.
100%. I get it, and I agree. The marketing hype is the BS of all this. But that is that same marketing hype is what gets you to go buy the hardware. So in other words, preach what you're selling or telling me is what I'm saying.
So I would put this on it. I would say my metric for accountability is the hardware you sold me. Support that for at least 8 years, 7-8 years, whatever. Right. But I don't care how often you bring out new hardware, as long as you support the hardware that I bought back when I
So
bought
what you're saying is make developers even angry at you because now you have way more SKUs to deal with.
No, I'm do whatever works with the developers. I'm just saying it doesn't a pro version doesn't bother me so long as the version that I bought still shines. It's still supported. Yes. It still gets the newest games for some number of years, right? Like if right now, if they made a Pro right now of the Xbox, right? Series, I don't want to say Series P because that's a trademark.
Don't do it.
The Series Portable. They made a Pro version, right? Xbox Series XXX, right?
Oh boy, stop it.
And then they said we're no longer going to support the Series S anymore after 4 years. That would be a problem. I just want them to support the hardware they make and make sure it's a requirement that anyone releasing on the platform for 7 years, you have to support this thing. So if you bought that, you know you have.
It's kind of like knowing you have. It's kind of like knowing you have what do you call it? Patch updates and whatnot to your phone for X amount of years before they move on from you.
Right, because you are not required. Right, this is what, and I'm guilty of this too. Every time some Sonic related thing comes out, but we're not. You're not required to go buy this new piece of hardware, whether they make it or not. You don't have to go get the latest and greatest. We sometimes get FOMO and think that. But what we should care about is the device that we bought is still supported. Let them put out a Pro for the people who have less sense than they do, or who have more money than they do have sense. Or
you mean Everborn Frivolous Purchase Saga? I hear you. Hey, understand. You got the moniker for a reason. Go ahead, Paris.
So you ready for this? I'm about to throw whataboutism in there, and I don't like whataboutism. I'm going to do it anyways.
Do it.
Okay.
Let's go.
What about Nintendo? They do it the right way. Whereas that Switch that you bought in 2017 plays all their games the same. Sure, they've released different variants of the Switch during the generation, but at no point do you need to go buy that because it increases performance or does anything? You buy it because you think it's cool. You think you buy it because they gave you a slightly better screen with OLED, or they gave you one that was smaller and more convenient for you to use. But at no point have they tried to, quote unquote, mid-gen refresh during the Switch era. And they're about to next year come out with a Switch 2, which will have increased performance and the whole thing. You can go buy that and continue on your way. And I know it's a whataboutism because no one ever includes Nintendo in these conversations.
Well, you know what? I'll take your whataboutism and I'll add a well actually. And I'll say that the well actually to that is why you got whack-a-moles of Yuzu, Nuzu, and Fuzu coming after you, because after some time they're like, get this crap out of here. I need to play this at 4K 60. You know, this happened.
The only thing I would say though is no one, like, you don't have to buy this PS5 Pro.
True.
Right. So I don't think that I think that is the thing that marketing does. And plus we're just enthusiasts. So we feel like, oh, they put it out, so we got to buy it. You don't have to buy it. What they have to do is support your PS5 that you bought. I do not know that I would buy this because I didn't buy a PS4.
They're even supporting OG PS4 right now. There are people still gaming on that, and a large number of people gaming on PS4. Not even Pro, OG4. You know, laptop CPU PS4 to this day. It's not a dead console. People still play it to this day.
And Paris, what do you always say? It's about options.
Yes, yes, agreed. I'm talking to you from a personal standpoint. Like I said, I ain't trying to spend $700 for this damn thing. It's funny you bring that up because someone said a comment to me on Twitter when I initially tweeted that. They go, "I bet you change your mind when GTA 6 comes out and is running at 4K 60." If I have to spend $700 to experience GTA 6, is that really worth it?
I'd rather
just well, Paris. Let me whataboutism you.
Here we go.
You are the man who just got the Vision Pro. So when you see that PS5 Pro come out, you gotta have one by the hook or by the crook.
Yeah. So everyone always comes after me saying, "Oh, he gonna buy it anyway." Yeah, this noose is around your neck too, sir. You're definitely buying that thing, or you're getting it somehow, some way. We're gonna see that from you.
To be clear, because of course I already had someone say this to me too. You know they're going to send you a review unit. Are you going to refuse it when they send it to you? No, I'm not going to refuse it because my opinion, wouldn't you want someone that's skeptical of the hardware to give an opinion on it? Maybe I actually play. You would rather someone, or do you just want people that are always going to say it's the greatest? Like I think of Marquise Brownlee all the time when it comes to review stuff. He's constant. Like, think about the Vision Pro. He's not 100% fan of that thing. He came into it being a skeptic of it. You want people that are skeptical of things so you have balanced opinions across the board of that stuff. But to answer your question, even if I don't get a review unit, would I go buy a PS5 Pro? My answer on that is going to be at launch, probably not, because they're not going to have any new experiences that's taking advantage of it at launch. But I could see myself, if I felt it was doing something revolutionary from a visual standpoint that the PS5 couldn't currently do, maybe in 2025. I would not rule it out.
Okay. I'm going to say
the Longhouse Gaming Podcast, $10 super chat. Shout out to the Black Viking. He asks, will PlayStation keep parity with the Series X or PS5 Pro for Marathon or other multi-platform first-party games? Or will the regulators criticize them or not? Gang, and awesome podcast, guys.
The regulators are not going to criticize them all. Now, let me answer. Let me say two things to Paris. One, the first thing is, I would ask if you are willing to bet knees.
Oh, here you go.
If you don't have to review this thing, right? So if you're not getting a review copy, if you will buy it day one, you will. The FOMO will get you, and you will not wait until 2025.
Probably.
So are we taking a bet?
I would like to make that bet with you. That's the first thing.
Here's why. Again, take me getting review stuff out of it. I'm just buying
that's what I'm things. Provided you don't get the review.
No, but here's why I'm saying this. Because don't forget, I also review PC tech as well. And there's something that is also coming out at the end of this year that I will 100% buy when it comes out, because that's just who I am. That 5090. Oh, yeah. If I have to go buy it, I will go buy it 100%. And I will.
Now that will cost you an arm, a leg, and many kidneys, but that's going to get purchased.
And that's my point. I would buy that over a PS5 Pro. 100%.
Okay. But I still
real quick, Paris, what's the price of a 5090? Hold on, Paris, real quick. 5090 price point.
Probably 15.
You think so?
Yeah.
You don't think they're going 2K?
I think it's going. I think it might go 24. But
well, I'm talking Nvidia's, basically their version of it, not like
the reference design.
Yeah. I'm thinking, you know what? I'll change it. 15 to 18. I'll say 15, 18.
Lucius Augustus says it'll cost the price of its name. It'll be 5090.
I was thinking to start charging them. Okay, so now the second thing that I want to say before we lose that thread.
Yes, sir.
Some of the comments that you get, Paris, I do not understand, and
before you continue, I want you to say this, but I do want to bring up, because you brought up the Vision Pro earlier, right? Remember, I was like, I ain't buying that thing. I ain't gonna buy it, man. I did the demo. I bought it on the spot.
That's what I'm telling you. You are going to buy the PS5
But that's
Pro.
because you are exactly like Everborn Saga, who is quick to be cynical when everybody's like, "Oh, this is amazing." He is Mr. Cynical, but there's millions of digital receipts of him flip-flopping left and right. You will buy the PS5 Pro.
But here's the thing, because I do have the MetaQuest 3 as well, and I have the VR2. For me, it was worth the price of admission. I use it every day. Every freaking day, I use the Vision
for entertainment purposes, right?
Yeah,
for movies and TV, right? I expected that would be that's where it would really shine. Yeah,
it is next level, the experience that you can have, and I understand the negative sides of it. I understand the price is outrageous and all that, but to me, it is such a glimpse into the future of where AR tech is headed. That
I got to tell you, Paris. I got to tell you, if it wasn't me saying I'm 10 toes down, I'm going to Gamescom this year. I'm booking tickets. I got hotels ready to go. I would have bought a Vision Pro. I earmarked the dough. It's just I'm going to Gamescom. That's why I would have bought it too. Because I'm a big movie TV buff, 3D VR stuff. I like as soon as I left that thing, I'm like, yup. Not for games and any of that, but for the entertainment TV movie aspect of it. Yes, I would have bought it myself. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Sorry, Everborn. I mean to distract you, but yeah, please go ahead and say what you're going to say.
Yeah. So, and for me with the Vision Pro, I watch all the movies with the missus, so I feel like I'd have to get two if I was going to get one.
That's the unfortunate dystopian world we find ourselves in, right? How you going to make that work? Yeah.
So, but the thing is, why on God's green earth, if they offered you a PS5 to review, would you not take it? To make somebody on Twitter happy?
No, I know.
Like, that is the dumbest question.
I laugh at all that.
Why would somebody even fix their mouths to ask a stupid ass question like that?
If we're going to go there, we're going to go there. So,
okay, let's go.
Part of the problem is this. People have their narratives. People have their allegiances, the things that they like. I get that, I understand it, and I respect it. I am a person who is not afraid to give my opinion on what I think. And that clearly rubs people the wrong way. So when I'm coming out saying that, hey, I'm not necessarily a fan of a mid-gen refresh, you're going to get these people with the knee-jerk reaction of, well, then you better not take one from PlayStation if they send you one. No, I would take one, because part of what I've been lucky and fortunate to do is I get to review tech. I get to give my opinion on it. Clearly, these companies want me to give my opinion on it, right? Whether it's positive, negative, or anything in between. But what happens is, if my opinion happens to not align with yours, that upsets people. And then they use me as a target to say, oh, well, you're bought, you're sold. You're only saying that because you're on an Xbox show. How dare you review PlayStation stuff? That's been actually funny over the last few weeks, because obviously I said what I said about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and and PlayStation has sent me various things over the past few weeks to review and to talk about. And I've been told I don't deserve it. You shouldn't be doing it. Why are they sending that to you? All I'll say is this. I have been reviewing and talking about PlayStation products, Xbox products, NVIDIA products, Samsung products, all this stuff for over a decade. So why would I stop now? To your point, to please somebody on Twitter, I'm not going to do that.
So in other words, this is all...
Capitalism has negative effects. Well, I guess you don't want your paycheck then. Like it's...
Well, look, you're giving air to all of this. Like this to me is exactly that reply from Valve internally. Why you mad, son? Why you mad, son? Calm down.
Do you mad, bro?
Why you mad, son? What are you doing?
All right.
Anybody that asked that question, that's exactly what the response should be. Yeah. Let me quickly get this super chat. Nerds and Other Legends. Wow, great name. $5 super chat. He says, I think existing PS4 owners are most likely to get a base PS5 over a PS5 Pro. None of the top 5 most played games are graphically intensive. I agree. And frankly, I don't think even the graphically intensive games will reach to the level of marketing or something that shows you that, hey, this Pro is why you need this intensive game. I mean, unless somehow, some way they get a side deal with with CDPR and they make like a path trace version for the Pro or something to show you, hey, this is what it could do. Go ahead.
So here's the thing. What if, right? We've already heard the GTA 6 angle, right? Like this can be the definitive place on console, at least. I mean, the definitive place, because it won't be on PC, to play GTA 6, right? And if you're Sony, maybe you release this thing because you want
of GTA.
Because of GTA, but not only GTA, you can say you're the definitive place to play COD because you won't have the marketing anymore. And this is what will ensure all of those people stay on your platform to play it, even though they can get it in Game Pass.
I mean, but remember though, you have hardware, but they have to use that hardware in order for that hardware to be useful. Right. So, we'll see. I mean,
brute force alone will give you better performance, right?
Yeah, it'll at least give you the 4K 60 solid. Yes, you'll get that. 100%. At least the 4K 60 solid you will get. Unless they purposely limit it, which I don't think they would.
That may be a way to stave off people running to Xbox to start purchasing COD when they lose the marketing. Because remember, Xbox used to have the marketing for COD, and that's where most people played it. But then when PlayStation got the marketing, everybody went to go play it there. If they can still say you'll have the best graphics playing it here on console, maybe that keeps people. Just it's a thought for why you would do something like this.
So let me end this here, and I'm closing out the poll. There's a poll in the chat. I'm closing out the poll. The poll end result, we had 43% said $650 would be the price. 38% of our voters said $750. 10% said over. 10% said $550, meaning 10% thinking that it might be still within line, and then 7% losing the thread, saying it's over $1,000, and it was voted on by 134 people. So thank you guys so much for participating in the chat. I will say, please hit that like button if you haven't already. Thank you to the over almost 300 people in here. Please consider subscribing if you're new here. We appreciate you. Paris, I will give you the option to bow out and give you an outro. No option.
I'm bowing out. Bye.
I'll give you the outro because I thank you for being here. See, we didn't even spring it on you. We're letting you know because we're at 3 hours and Everborn and I have fielded a lot of conversation in this realm, so we need to address it. But you already laid yours down. Pause. So we're gonna let you go, and then we're gonna continue the conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, Paris Lily, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you lending your voice, your vision, your talents to our show every time. It is so appreciated. Thank you for being here. And where can people keep up with all your ongoings on a weekly basis, sir?
You can keep up with me. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me on. And I will just say publicly, I appreciate the private conversations that three of us have on a pretty much daily basis at this point.
What about the bait to get you?
Oh yeah. let me say this before I go.
We throw a lot of chum in the water over there. We throw chum in the water.
Everborn will tweet out something that he knows if I chime in will just be a complete shit show. and he will put it in our private chat. And I will always put a meme with the Homer meme where he just fades into the bushes. I'm like, no, thank you. I'm good.
But sometimes
I've learned my lesson. I don't comment. Well, no, being serious, I do appreciate the conversations that three of us are able to have. I appreciate you letting me come on your platform and chime in from time to time. But I will also say the one that you're about to go into, I have said my piece and I'm done versing on this. But where you can find me, you can find me over on Gamertag Radio. You can find me over on Kind of Funny. And obviously I'm on social media at Vicious696. So thank you, gentlemen, for having me.
Thank you so much once again for being here, sir. We always appreciate you. You know, whenever you want to talk, bro, you're always available. You are always welcome. Every once in a while, I'll slide the invite in the DMs and I just leave it there. You know, we'll see if you use it. And for the record, not everybody in our community has things to say. Others are stern followers. They insist that you continue to TTS, sir. So we appreciate
you. Will do. Y'all have a good rest of the show. I'll talk to you later.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Paris Lily. We appreciate him for being on, and we appreciate the chat for always continuing to engage in a very respectful way. There was one person that did not, and he had to be sent to the shadow realm. We hope you enjoy yourself in that shadow realm. There'll be none of that on our chat. So thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for engaging properly. And yes, we will switch over because we need to talk about it. Everborn Saga, sir. Everborn Saga, sir. You know as well as I do that this conversation has become a bit hot button. And we were going to talk about it last week. Last week it became a big thing. And I've been watching a lot of folks talking about it. Oh, shout out to the man AA Ron in here. What's going on, sir? How you doing? We have been talking about this like in the background for a while. People have been making their opinions known. And it's the idea of consultants adding or being used as part and parcel of the development process, right? And what brought that into full fruition, it was Sweet Baby Inc. and what they bring and what they offer and all of that. Now, there's a lot there, and we've been schooled on many occasions in our DMs and in our Discord and all of that. And by the way, if you're not part of our Discord, please join our Discord. A lot of great conversations being had in our Discord. Mr. John Wolf, sir, if you can, please put the Discord in the chat so people can try that. I don't want to do that because last time I did it, it completely ruined my setup while I was doing the show. So I won't do that. But we've been schooled because, you know, they did this, they did that, they have these ulterior motives or that ulterior motive. There's a lot of conversations about their or the agenda of diversity being the focal point rather than anything else. And because of that, it's led to a lot of people having a lot of pushback. It's gone as far as hearing a lot of Gamergate comparisons being posted on there. I see this word woke being used one too many times. And forgive me, this is where we're gonna have some grown man talk. Everborn, I want you to give me your top of the dome response to this. But first and foremost, I think we need to level set, because I think a lot of people are using that term woefully incorrect. But let's start with you, Everborn. You've been probably paying attention to this far more than me. What are your thoughts right off the top, and we'll get into it.
So the problem is, I feel like, and shout out to Lucius.
Oh, there are lots of inaccuracies everywhere.
Yeah,
but we're going to talk about it. Yes.
The idea that this started with something that a Sweet Baby Inc. employee said, right? Like, sure, if that's a catalyst, but this doesn't happen if all of this wasn't in the seed.
It's been bubbling for a long time. Yes.
So I'm going to argue that people were looking for an excuse to do this culture war rage bait thing, right?
Yep.
And so to me,
it's Gamergate 2.0 for a reason. There was 1.0 back in the day.
It is not Gamergate 2.0. People are branding
They're
it.
Trying to make it that way.
That will get them clicks that they
more
want.
attention. Yep.
So again, this is branding, this is marketing, and I'm not going to give you a both sides argument either, right? What I am going to say to you is I don't care what Sweet Baby did or has done. I don't, and people really don't. What the concept of forced diversity has been brought up in films, it's been brought up in television, it has been brought up in comic books, and it is coming from a place where people are uncomfortable seeing certain things. Now, if your issue is bad writing is completely separate from any sort of thing that you would classify as woke or diversity, right? If you are classifying something as bad writing because you're seeing different people that you're not comfortable with or not used to, maybe you are comfortable but you're not used to seeing them in this place, then you know, you can, like, you can have an issue with bad writing, but discuss why the bad writing doesn't work, right? And we've had any number of horrible side quests in games. We've had any number of bad screenplays, poorly plotted out television shows. We've had all of that, but the fervor is only this high when it is connected to what people deem as woke. And that is where I check out and I stop listening to you. So maybe Sweet Baby's terrible at their job at consulting, right? But there's a lot of people, there's a lot of writers' rooms that's full of white people that put out terrible content, and we don't see all of these podcasts and people dedicating entire channels and all of that stuff. So you can write a bad script, but if the writers are all what is that called, silver-haired mavericks, or everybody in the cast is Scandinavian, right? That's fine. It's just that it was bad, and we critique it on it being bad. But now,
because that's the status quo. That is the status quo. Right. It's always been the status quo.
But now when you have a bad script, and I'm not saying anyone who says the writing is bad, that's for us we can discuss that. So the thing is, why does it become this level of fervor when it's black people or people of color or whoever doing the bad writing or the poorly written characters? That is the issue here. And if we can talk about plot for plot why it's bad, then that's fine. And again, an example of diversity being swapped and it not mattering because it was just good is Nick Fury. Yes, they did it in the comics versus in the Ultimates universe, but that character is just written in a way, and his race does not matter. Another example is Captain Keyes. Nobody says, well, that's you, right? So look at Captain Keyes in the Halo show. It is just a good actor cast in a good role, and that is the end of it. That is not so this is the thing. Let us separate that discussion of what people are deeming as forced diversity, because any diversity is forced, right? And let's actually break down the structure of a script and say, this is why this thing works or doesn't work. And let's have a conversation.
So a quick aside on that. A quick aside on what you're saying there. Go ahead.
Last thing I want to say is this conspiracy theory is pointing angry people in a direction and giving them something to be angry at and point that rage at. And so if you make Sweet Baby your boogeyman, and I'm not saying they did or didn't do anything wrong, but if you're making this all about Sweet Baby, then you actually don't want the problem to be solved. You just want something to be mad at. right? Because if you cared about solving the problem, we would get into what is actually wrong and not just saying.
And real quick, Everborn, while you're saying, hold on, real quick. See what he's saying. Like, look at this right here. The question, the statement from Don, and Donna, I'm not hating on you at all. I swear I'm not. The idea of woke and anti-woke content is nauseating. To me, what this statement says is the idea of cheese and anti-cheese content is the word is incorrectly used in this context. So the fact that people keep using that word, just like it's a splinter in the back of my mind that makes me want to punch something every time I hear it. That has nothing to do with what's happening here. That word is being misused. Woke is the wrong word to use for this context. I'm sorry. Continue. Yes.
But I mean, what is nauseating is the people using the term woke.
Yes, right? That's my point, because it has nothing to do with this. That's not really what that word means. But yes.
And so, it's just, and you can see it, right? If we have, like, was Dances with Wolves forced non-diversity? What about
that had some white savior aspects to it.
What about The Last Samurai?
Also some white savior aspects to it.
What about Ghost in a Shell with Scarlett Johansson?
I'll leave it. Let's keep it gaming. What about the first Horizon? Also some white savior aspects to it. Yes, but this is my point.
But the point is, the word has no meaning, and it is shorthand for people who are uncomfortable. First of all, we're not using it in the
proper context.
Okay, let's put it this way.
So define the word woke, please.
Well, before I will do that, I will we'll talk about Me Too, right?
Sure.
Me Too was a movement started by Tarana Burke, a black woman, right, who was speaking for people who worked in the hospitality field and women that had no power, that were being abused by their employers,
abused and silenced,
like that, yes, right. And this was for people that grew up in that are in rough areas and things like that. But Me Too was hijacked by rich people in Hollywood so that they could get more pay from these things and
use it to air dirty laundry,
right? And so again, woke is a term that means keeping your mind's eye open and seeing the connections in the world. And now it is being used anytime you see a black, brown, gay, whatever person, and it is just shorthand for people who don't want to have a conversation. And so once you're a 40-year-old with a podcast saying the word woke, I'm done with you already. Like I'm not even listening to you at that point. So what I am saying is, Sweet Baby is 15 people who are, 1000%. It's a few people in a writer's room with that's a consulting group, and they have apparently some assholes that work for them, right? That is not the issue that you have with the gaming industry, and tying it to DEI, because you've always had those opponents, and tying it to ESG scores and BlackRock and all those things. Like that.
Those are literally canaries in the coal mine. They use to engage the community, to make them do what they want you to do from an agenda perspective. They just throw that chum in the water and you act, because they can throw DEI at you. They can throw all those other things at you. But the background is a concerted effort to keep status quo. That's what this is. It's a concerted effort to keep status quo. God forbid we lean left, we lean right, we stretch our what is known as acceptable. The minute that anybody wants to stretch what's acceptable, and what happens when you stretch what's acceptable? You mess up. There are experiments all over the place. How long did it take for the status quo to become as needle threaded as they are now, to provide you the entertainment and the writing the way you like it? How many decades? How many centuries? Right? But the moment somebody brings up something that is different from the vision that you're used to with status quo, and they don't do it correctly, then we need to throw the baby out with the bathwater because this is terrible and they have agendas.
So
how will we ever get to a place where others get a voice if they need to strike perfectly the first time and the status quo has had over 100 years to learn? Answer that question.
To me, that's less important. You're always going to have bad script, and it is arguable that all these
then you need to delineate it from what it is. It's a bad script. Let's talk about the bad script. Let's talk about how we can fix that script instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater because it's like, oh, well, they allowed them to speak and look what they're doing with it. Let's get rid of all of them. That's literally what's happening right now.
So, I just, my all I'm saying is we've seen assholes before, right?
Yep. We will see assholes again.
Right. And they'll come from all walks of life, right?
That's right.
But I think that this is being used as an excuse for people that already had issues on either side of this thing, right? Yep. But the reason I don't care about whatever connections that this company has is you never saw this level of fervor when it's the status quo doing bad things. You don't. And anybody in here,
that's just part of the status quo.
You never let a bad thing get you this upset. And that's everyone's taking advantage of it, and everyone's gearing their channel content towards it. And it's a grift. And again, there are going to be people that say, "What about the real discussion? Let's have the real discussion."
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And if your discussion starts with Sweet Baby and BlackRock, we're not having a real discussion.
Nope.
It is a conspiracy theory, and you do want someone to be mad at.
Yep. And let's be clear. The idea of the consultant now I've made it a point not to dig deep into all the back and forth, but they did this and this was said on this message board or whatever. I've made it a point to stay away from that because that is the mushy middle that they use to blind you, in my humble opinion. So let's be clear. The consultants, yes, consultants have existed in this system and in many other systems adjacent forever. Movies, TV, forever. Many of your favorite games that you will hold up as one of the greatest games you've played all have had some level of consultants playing a part. If you don't, and you don't even have to worry about it, it's logical. Think about it. I always use Ghost of Tsushima as one of the best examples. How do you think a bunch of California dudes strike that needle and make one of the best Japanese-focused cultural games ever? They go and they ask for help, a la consultants, right? Why do you think Kinzera, Tales of Kinzera, Zao, has Sweet Baby of all consultants as one of theirs? Because every single, and the people will go, well, they're telling an African story. Why would they need that? Because Africans are not one country. Africans are a diverse group of many countries. I say the United States is not states, they're countries. 50 countries that decided to speak the same language. So you, as a person who lives in America, may not understand the cultural differences of all of your 50 country partners. You may need a consultant to come in and help you, understand, because at a high level, when you're making a AAA huge game that you're trying to reach a wide swath, you don't know that you're making a mistake unless you get some consultant help. The difference in that, look what happened in Miles Morales versus Spider-Man 2, right? When you strike the iron well, you bring the people in, they really uplift the stuff and they really uplift the content. When you don't, then you short shrift and start putting the wrong flags in place and using stereotypical haircuts constantly. You know what I'm saying? This stuff has been part of this creation process forever, and it needs to continue to be part of the creation process, or else you get The Last Samurai over and over and over and over again. And if that's the status quo, you're okay. And I liked it. I do. Although the cultural appropriation is well on display. Like, well on display. Come on. We see it well on display. Right. And don't get me wrong. Right. I forget the name of the gentleman who said it at the Oscars a long time ago that I really agreed with. Like, he said something to the effect of he grew up with Rambo like everybody else. Right. But he didn't look like me. But I grew up with Rambo like everybody else. And I loved it. Right. And I will still stand firm by it today. But if you want other voices to be allowed to be in this mix and enjoy the same notoriety and same attention, they might need some help, because not everybody's an expert in all matters of culture. You might need somebody to bring on board to help you calibrate your vision correctly, so you're not stepping on toes incorrectly. Right? We talk about it about handhelds all the time. Aya Neo, the maker of handhelds, the third-party handhelds, has the Aya Neo Kun. I think they needed a consultant, don't you? I'm just saying, it's one of those things, right? So to me, it's the baby with the bathwater conversation that we keep having. You know what I'm saying?
So so that's one thing. So again, this, just to kind of whole circle it, right?
Yes, please.
I think that John Wolfe is right? Like, the war has ruined the discourse around comics. It ruined it around movies, and now it's gonna ruin it around video games, and that sucks, man. It's just the thing is this, like, let us have discussions on the merits. This is the only thing that I'm asking, right? I'm not saying you need to like a script or whatever, right? But if you only don't like it because you see, a demographic that you're not used to seeing, that doesn't mean it was forced in there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Let's have the discussion on why this thing doesn't work. And I'm somebody who really disliked The Last Jedi, right?
Okay. Yep.
And it had nothing to do with Rey. It's just I thought it was a poorly written movie, and I thought was even worse. And what I saw a lot happening was they were saying, "Oh, you don't like it because you don't want to see a woman with a lightsaber, or you don't."
Yeah, which is a cheapening of the conversation, right. Which is stupid.
So, and I get that part of it, but here's the thing, right? This idea that diversity needs to be done in the right way, really, like what does that mean? What does it mean?
Yeah,
like,
there is no right way. Exactly. Yes,
we got to put black people in front of you in a way that it makes you feel comfortable.
Otherwise, we can't move forward. Yes. Otherwise, it needs to be status quo. It has to be the established way.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people realize that is what they're saying amounts to. Right. But you have to have a reason for why a script doesn't work. And it cannot just be because of a race swap. Right. Did they completely butcher the plot of the character? Then yes, have your problem. But I don't know. It just feels like this thing is gonna spiral out of control, and nobody wants to hear anything. Nobody wants everybody is in their corner. The heels are dug in, and it doesn't matter what everybody says.
So Lucius coming with a good pushback. He says, small pushback. Aren't y'all the ones against Barrett and how he's shown and it's not the right way to depict him? Yes, they needed more consultants.
Because he's in there as a stereotype. That is very different than saying
they needed consultants.
They forced a black character in there.
Yes.
Right.
He was wrongly drawn. And if you are from a culture that doesn't know how to draw that character, and I mean from an artistry and from a whole cloth character perspective, then maybe you too need to get consultants so they can tell you and potentially help you. You know what? I'll do you one better. You should hire some diverse people so they can actually give you their experience. If you can't do that, consultants, right? It's not baby with the bathwater. And if the consultants do a bad job, call them out for doing a bad job. But it's not, a pox in all their houses, get rid of it, and let's stay status quo. Because then Yoshi P can say, well, black people weren't there, but Chocobos were. And then we just got to keep it moving, which is bullshit. That's my one.
So, I also find it a little bit ironic that the group of people that are raging against cancel culture are trying to cancel Sweet Baby.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting?
That's weird. Like, oh man, you say something they don't like, and they're gonna get together and they're gonna all talk about you and they're gonna cancel you, and that's wrong, and freedom of speech, and we're supposed to have freedom of speech. And this asshole said something you don't like, and what do? You get a whole army together to try to get them canceled, and get them to not work on a game again.
Yes.
These are the free speech people that are doing this.
Yep.
So,
yep.
I don't know.
Now, what I will say though, real quick, I think much like, and you'll see how this will thread, much like the conversation we were having about the leakers of the Xbox communities and all of this, I feel like there's a psyops happening, and they're using people to send that agenda forward, right? And so when I hear these conversations coming out from some various sources, I don't look at them with ire. I don't necessarily think that they are spreading FUD or they're trying to purposely twist the knife. I think they're being used in that psyops, and they're unwittingly being a part of the conversation.
Let me tell you something right now. You want to talk about psyops? I find it very interesting that people are digging into their corners on this in an election year. If we want to talk about conspiracies, right? Let's spread the culture wars here, and now everybody's going to be on their side, and everybody's going to vote for whoever they want to vote for based on this thing. So let's get gamers involved, and let's get them to go to the polls. Now, Lucius Augustus says that isn't accurate to what's happening. He's talking about with the cancel thing. Listen, you're mad that this developer, this consultant who works for this consulting firm, right? He tried to get someone canceled, and you don't like canceling. So your answer to not liking someone trying to cancel someone is to try to cancel them. So it's
to get all your marshaling all your forces to get it canceled. Yes, that's right.
I'm just trying to understand: are we for or are we against canceling?
Yeah. That's the question.
And if the answer is
because they're using the same tools,
then you're no better than them. And if you're no better than them, why are we even arguing? There's no virtues here. There's no sides. There's just two people who are mad at each other, and they're gonna do whatever they want to do so that they can win a point.
Yep. And all I'm saying, honestly, at some point, all of this will get out in the wash, I believe, because if you look at the way content has been disseminated over years, right? We have come a long way since where we were, even in the status quo. Certain things can't be done today that were being done before, right? And I do stand with some people like Dorian Gray, who say, I'm tired of ugly girls in my games, right? Because the pendulum is swinging far in multiple directions.
Yeah, but okay. And you're tired of ugly people in the games. Yes, every game should be like Stella Yams. Sure.
No, but this is my point.
Hold on a second.
Finish.
You're tired of that, right? SBI is not doing character designs.
No.
They're not.
They're just writers.
Right? So this is the thing where it's just like that is a boogeyman that you can point to, and pointing all the rage at them because one guy tried to get somebody's Steam account canceled. This is way bigger than that, because guess what? That guy got his account canned or suspended or whatever. Right? So this is the thing. Focus. If you have issues and you actually want them solved and you just don't want a whipping boy, then let's focus and try to understand where the real issues we are having are coming from. Instead of
so what Dorian is saying it's not that he's sick of all the bad faith actors. And I agree with you. But what I think you need to understand in that realm is there are bad faith actors on both sides, and some have status quo on their side, and some don't, right? And by the nature of the mechanism has been worked to the sense where it's like, and we're bringing politics into this mix. Absolutely, it unfortunately has to be. It's like Obama becoming president, and he has to be, for Americans, the best, like absolute best president ever made, because if he doesn't, there'll never be another black one. Which is unfair, which is basically what's happening here, right? Like I was saying before,
I'm not defending Sweet Baby Inc. I am saying
no, we're not
just as much about the whatever bad stuff they're involved in, like script writing they're involved in, as I care about their white counterparts.
Exactly.
But we're not getting videos about the white consulting firms. We're getting
because that continues to continue the status quo, right?
Of political opinion, and that is really the issue. The rage is outsized to what people think or what they have actually done. And so, if you want actual problem solved, then I'm here for it. But you know. Anyway, go ahead. I'm tired. I'm tired of the whipping boy. I'm tired of the buzzwords. I'm tired of the appropriation. I'm tired of the psyop that's being the wool being pulled over people's eyes and using that to continue the status quo. That's what's happening here. They're doing their best to continue the status quo. Whether you want to believe it or not, right? And everyone wants to say, well, I'm having a legitimate disagreement with this, right?
Versus those others.
For every one of you, there is some number of people who are in there that are just racist and don't want to see these things. And that is the side that you're on unless you are really trying to get to the heart of the problem. And all I'm saying is,
whatever. Sully says devs should be allowed to make their games they want without interference from others.
How do you know that this is not exactly what the devs wanted?
Yeah. How do you know that they didn't want to reach the biggest audience by also, because like in the example of Ghost of Tsushima, for instance, damn well they needed those consultants, otherwise they would have messed up all over the place. Right. So in that example, they definitely needed consultants, and that was their vision, to be able to tell a story that a bunch of California dudes tell. Well, and I say that, flippantly, but people who are not steeped in the Japanese culture, to be able to tell a story and give respect to that culture, so much so that even Japanese folks who played it, who are steeped in the culture, will go, yeah, you guys did a great job here. That is what these consultants are for, to help you bridge that gap that we don't even know. We're trying to avoid the Ionia Coons, people. That's what we're trying to avoid up in here. We're trying to avoid the Barretts, right? And just because Sweet Baby might be a bad messenger, or this consultant or that consultant, pick your consultant that did the bad job. Deal with that consultant and their bad job. Not the whole idea of the framework of how consultancy should be used, because what you're doing there is saying how things have always been is exactly how things should continue to be, and we should never ever allow for any new voices to speak.
Remember when Johnny Depp played Tonto?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Did these people who are upset now or saying Hollywood needs to be torn down and my movies are being ruined because a white man was playing a Native American?
Yeah. If you look in the past status quo, go ahead.
Remember in Exodus, Gods and Kings,
when,
when the guy that plays Batman, Christian Bale, was playing Moses.
Yeah, browning his face for this purpose. Yeah,
I don't even think he browned his face.
Absolutely. Yeah, kind of. They browned it a little bit. And shout out to the septic man himself. He's like, I'm brown. What's going on, brother?
Remember when Jake Gyllenhaal played the Prince of Persia?
And I actually liked that movie. Most people hated that movie. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty good.
Remember when Ben Kingsley played Gandhi?
Yes.
So I'm only saying, and yes, people complained about those things, but just they complained that it was,
and then moved on.
Yes. It wasn't this whole thing.
It didn't start a movement that then forced people to, represent black people better. No. They just went, that's weird, and they moved on. That's all that happened.
So,
and all I'm saying, and here's where maybe people won't like what I have to say about this. Like for me, sincerely, I grew up with all of this stuff. I grew up with all of this content. Like X-Men 97. I cannot wait to watch that. Again, I grew up watching that content. I love with my whole heart that content. Dragon Ball Z. I grew up. Yes, I see you, Popo. Grew up with all that content, right? But I also understand that it took them many, many, many generations to calibrate that properly, to make sure that the messages are delivered to you in a way that doesn't feel forced, that doesn't feel ham-fisted. There's a lot to getting entertainment right and keeping it entertaining while still delivering whatever you want to deliver, right? And when have any other voices besides the status quo been allowed to speak until now? That is brand new, right? We have never been in a world where that has been allowed, right? And because more voices are now being allowed to speak, I will see, and I'm maybe this is my Pollyanna thoughts on it, right? I will speak and say, at the end of the day, they're going to calibrate. The pendulum is going to swing way back, way left, and it's by and large going to be crap content left and right. But look back at the status quo. There was crap content there too. They were allowed to take another bite at the apple and another bite and another bite until they finally calibrated it correctly.
I think we've said what we can say about this. I just want everyone that's listening, everyone that will listen to this, ask yourself, how upset do you get about a bad script?
Yep.
That is written and starring the status quo, whether it's a video game or a movie, versus how upset you are now that people that disagree with you politically, or how upset you are now when you see a demographic that you're not used to seeing when you have a bad script, right? So what I'm saying is, does this make you more upset than a bad script written by the status quo, or bad games that were created by the status quo?
Yep.
And if it does, I need you to ask yourself why that is.
Yeah.
And I think we can leave it at that.
Yep. I think that is a good place to leave it. I agree with you. I completely agree with you. But it has been a great conversation. I think that this conversation will continue. Ladies and gentlemen, join the Discord. It's in the chat. Join the Discord. We talk about this and by and large, you'll find that this is how we move. We calibrate our thinking and talk with our community before you'll ever hear us talk about it here, because we want to understand how things are moving. Like I started this whole Sweet Baby thing not understanding half of what was going on, and more folks are telling us what's going on in the background, and I will agree that if there's nothing else, they might be the bad messenger, right? They might be something that they might be delivering the message, and because they are the ones delivering the message, it's getting lost. But the conversation should continue, because I don't think this is something that you just sweep under the rug, because today it's Sweet Baby, tomorrow it's something else, because as Everborn has said from the beginning of this whole thing, it's something that's been bubbling in the background for a long time, and it continues to even in other mediums like movies and
it
TV.
Just comes to the forefront in an election year. That's all I'm saying. Tinfoil, kooky, off.
Yes. But and we know that not everybody will appreciate the talk we have here. Not everybody will agree with us. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're here for that grown man talk. We're here for the grown folk talk, and we can. I'm open to be educated, and I hope you are open to be educated as well, because that's how we all grow as people and as gamers together. I just want more and more great games from all walks of life. Like, I shed tears when I see games like Kinzara Zao being featured, because as a young 10-year-old K, I never thought that would ever happen. Like, ever. While I was enjoying everything that was there, I never thought that would ever happen. So seeing that here today makes me so happy, and I feel like we need to allow more of those voices to flourish. Even if they come out and they do something stupid, we need to adjudicate with what the problems of that specific material, and then hopefully the next one will do better. Right, but okay.
One thing.
Go ahead, Everborn. Yes.
So I see Lucius saying, it does not for me. He was saying, like, does what people deem as forced diversity make him more upset than a bad script or bad game written by the status quo? What I will say to that is, maybe that is true for you, but the uproar that you are seeing now for poorly designed side quests, right? Because I could tell you a number of poorly designed side quests in like Final Fantasy 16, but they explicitly excluded Black people, so I guess it's fine. The thing is, right? Did you see this level of outrage, whether it's from you or not? Did you see this level of outrage for poorly written scripts in games that were written by the status quo? Or
because it's status quo at that point,
right? Do you see that happening now for poorly written, what people are deeming as poorly written script? Why is it the outrage is such that it is now, when those poorly written scripts involve people with an agenda of diversity?
Yeah, I agree. But
if you are in the chat, Dave Ramos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you're in this chat, you are one of us. We appreciate you for being here. We learn from you. You learn from us. And we appreciate that conversation. Like, this is the stuff that should not be antagonistic, because that's what's happening out there. That's why a lot of us disconnect from the back and forth. That's why you'll most likely not hear or see me talking about it.
So like, Sully says, no, we said they were shit games, but you said they were shit games and moved on.
You didn't start a petition. You didn't start fighting. You didn't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. No, you adjudicated that content and said, okay, that content is crap, and then you moved on. That's all we're asking for here.
You didn't put it
on its merits.
Cabal and scheme of things.
Yes,
not you. I don't know what you did,
but just in the general. That's
the issue.
And one thing I will ask from our public here: you come here. We love you for coming here. Don't use the word woke, because chances are you're not using it right. Don't use the word woke. Let that be others who use that word, because they're not. More often than not, it's a dog whistle in the worst ways possible. So let's not do that. You know what I'm saying? Yes. But anyway, this has been a great conversation. I really appreciate people who stayed for that conversation. I know that not everybody's into that. People just want to. Go ahead.
And I will say, I think I'm going to say this every week: stay woke, the real woke.
Oh, the state. Yes. Because that is what you need to, like, the proper use of the term woke. You need to stay woke, because if you're not, then they throw the wool over your eyes. Even in gaming, you could stay woke. And in gaming, I guess the context would be don't preach the marketing lines that you keep getting fed, right? Because by and large they're lying to you. So stay woke. Anyway. I saw some folks saying, hey, after this topic, we need to have a palate cleanser before we leave. Well, what do you think of a good palate cleanser before we leave, Everborn?
I just picked up Titanfall 2 for $3.
Hey, that's awesome. That's awesome. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on it. It's the campaign is not too long. I hope more people play it because that's an awesome game, man. That's an awesome game. I love that game. Oh, and actually, another thing I want, like you wanted a palate cleanser. I actually might have a palate cleanser for you guys, which is this. So I got one of these, and maybe I want to give these out as a gift. Maybe I'll do a little bit of a giveaway and see if anybody wants this. Let's see, and I'll put this out on the socials and see who wants it. And this is for those fans of in the chat who love Starfield. I want to see your Starfield numbers. Who has the highest player count? Whoever has it will win one of these. I got my hands on Vasco. If you show me your build, show me your numbers. The number one will get sent a copy of Vasco. I'll send it to you. I got my hands on 2 of them. I have one right here in the box, ready to go, courtesy of GCP. So I'll put it on social a little later. But yeah, if you want one, free of charge, shipping and all that paid for. You know, and of course I'm gonna expect you to be honorable. Show me your build, like show me your player count, your numbers of played. Whoever wins will get a free copy of Vasco. I'll throw that in the mail and send it to you. So shout out to Vasco and shout out to the folks in the chat and everybody who's been keeping up with all our ongoings. Mr. Everborn Saga, sir, this has been a great show. Let me ask you, how close are we to that next Kickstarter, sir?
We are very close, but the way we do our Kickstarters is unlike most people. We finish the book first, and then we do the Kickstarter. So there is no risk involved in whether we're able to produce it or whatever. So I'm waiting until the final colored page comes in, and then we will set up the Kickstarter page, and we begin lettering at that point when the Kickstarter goes live. So by the time it's done, we can ship right after printing. So that's happening soon, and working on new scripts. So we're trying to increase the release cadence, but let's just say I have some empathy for Xbox.
Cord says, when I saw Santi in Halo, I was furious.
Hey, let's just say this. I think he'll be back.
Hey. That's what I did. That's what I did to spoil it for Joanna Dark. Don't do that. I mistakenly did that, and I still feel bad about it. But yes, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thanks to the great Paris Lily for jumping in and talking them T-flops, talking them flop talk. Appreciate y'all. As we get closer and closer to fruition, I'm sure we're gonna be talking way more about the consoles and all this. Wow! Oh my goodness! This man, look at Fuzzy's numbers, man. 12, Jesus, man. But I think some people have it over on you, man. Last I heard, I think what was it? Pixel had like 60 days or something. 60 days in this game. I want to see people's numbers, man.
I have like 5 or 6 days. I don't know where this 12 is.
Yeah. 60 days, bro. Some people are 60 days, man. Amazing. But yes, shout out to all y'all. Like, I need to get back to that game, man. And as the DLC comes, I will definitely be See, Cord, now you're making me devolve in the show. He goes, Asante is asking for picks? No, sir. Pause. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. It's not that type of a show. But anyway, thank y'all so much for being here. For myself, for Mr. Everborn Saga, for the great Paris Lily. It was great conversation. You know, we don't shy away from grown man talk here on this show. And we appreciate y'all for sticking with us and understanding that we may not all agree, but we're here to, put it out there, let y'all know how we feel, take in the criticism of how you feel.
As we always say, if agreement is a prerequisite of your friendship, then you are not friends.
Absolutely.
We're all friends here.
Absolutely. And we are all friends here. On that note, thank y'all for being here. Catch me and the great John Wolf on Monday night when we'll be talking Gamers Playground, where we're going to be getting into some of the conversations about the MSI Claw. Ain't doing so hot in them reviews, let's just say. We'll be talking about all these other games that are coming out, more PC talk for you. So come check us out. But until then, I will say thank you guys so much for being here. And until next week, let's keep it gaming. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Nice to be in orbit.